Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados live here on Thinking Critical YouTube. Apparently, I need to push my clock back tomorrow or something. No, you guys are doing that, and you're going to mess my whole times up. Apparently, is it spring forward?
Stupid.
That sounds good.
Pain of my existence. I hate it.
It is the
I
dumbest
thought we
idea
voted
we've
on that.
Yeah. Biden.
ever- We should also have Aaron Sparrow in here at no time, but we do have a fantastic panel to talk about some comic books. Obviously, returning is Perch. How you feeling, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in here. Glad to be here. Glad to be with you guys. I know it's been a delay here, but very happy. Great panel.
Yeah, you were supposed to be here last week, but you were feeling a little under the weather, but you got to enjoy the show.
That's right. The show was a lot of fun. I did my Captain America impression where I just had them shoot a bunch of steroids into my back. But the only thing that's happened is I'm generally dissatisfied with America. That's all I feel.
You didn't turn into a super soldier?
I didn't. No, I'm the Ta-Nehisi Coates run. It's very sad.
Ooh, bro.
That's rough.
Lost your shield, probably.
Nobody wants to be the Ta-Nehisi Coates of anything.
Yeah.
We've also got Dylan for the Real Comic Book Gamer, the biggest Superman fan I know.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here, talk more about comics.
So you haven't read the latest issue of Superman, but it's really getting Graffin Farm heavy. What are your feelings on those villains? Because I'm finding it hard to buy into like the Howard Stern in a latex bodysuit in a wheelchair as a villain.
Yeah, so far they haven't been in it much. They've been at like the end of every issue. They'll be in like one page, and I'm not the biggest fan of the design. I don't think he looks creepy or cool. He just kind of looks dumb. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't really have a big opinion on him yet because I haven't read the latest issue, but they haven't really been in it much so far. They just kind of look dumb, and they show up at the end of every issue.
Well, they show up in the next one is when they really show up. The Luthor Murder Squad or something. They want to kill Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Apparently he's turned them all
Putting
off.
that together.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But for some reason, those villains just aren't doing it for me.
Yeah, I can see why.
Howard Stern, what a weird way to do that one. We've also got Yul Carter from Fantastic Comics. How's Berkeley treating you?
Oh, man, the last couple of days, the weather has been wonderful. Hanging outside, talking to customers, ringing them up inside. Yeah, it's been great. Good-looking days. I love.
Is that what you do? You sit out on the sidewalk and start conversations about superheroes?
Talk about superheroes, talk about comics. Sometimes we've been playing guitar at the store a lot lately, so I troubadour people in the store, and it works. It's good stuff.
You play the guitar?
I've been learning. I have really good friends, and the guy who owns the store brought his spares in. And a few months ago, I thought it'd be a pretty funny thing if we could figure out if I could, play a couple licks. And screw comics. Now it's guitar.
You're gonna open a guitar shop?
No.
But yeah, teach an old dog new tricks.
You can actually. This is my. I'm not final staging it yet, but I'm transmogrifying for sure.
So this was a big week for comic book retailers. Obviously, Ultimate Spider-Man appears to be the enormous hit that comic book retailers were looking for, and you're hoping that maybe Ultimate Black Panther and Ultimate X-Men are able to attach themselves to that success. Did that happen with Ultimate X-Men in your store?
Yeah. So in our area of California, probably in most of California, Penguin Random House shipments got delayed. I guess there was this Donner Pass situation again.
Cannibalism?
And no, they were going to have to eat the comic books is the problem. And, so the UPS drivers, thankfully, they were just thawed them out and just brought them to us instead. But it was like a day late. Well, actually a few days late. But so I got my stuff in late. But ever since I got the Penguin Random House order, Ultimate X-Men's been selling well. Some of the Marvel stuff has been doing pretty well, but Ultimate X-Men definitely.
Well, very good.
Yeah.
So it's a big hit all around.
It's lesser. I mean, I feel like you'd expect issues. Like you start off really hot in a first issue, and by the time you get to the third, fifth, or seventh issue, it's probably died down a bit. And when we're talking about like a universe or a new something happening, think of the Ultimate X-Men as maybe that third issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, or the 5th or 7th issue, whenever the drop maybe happens, should it happen. Nonetheless, I'm almost out of them, and it looks like it's doing pretty well.
I've heard rumors that the Energon stuff, specifically Transformers and Duke, the orders are going up as the series is going along. Is that what you're noticing? Like you're not.
I noticed it in my store that way.
Yeah.
Well,
that's good.
Once they realize that number one, Cobra Commander and Duke don't suck, and it does tie in at least a little bit to what's going on in Transformers, and you feel like there is something brewing. People have to read those. If you like Transformers, you have to read them. If you like Duke and Cobra Commander, you've got to read Transformers. It's just gonna. And then, best part of all, now people realize they got to buy Void Rivals. Oh, Kirkman got them.
Another really good issue of Void Rivals this week too.
Yeah.
So that was great. Obviously, we're missing Doc, but Doc is heading to the res. That's why we're waiting on Aaron Sparrow. And we do have Josh McDonald. How you doing, Josh?
What's up, man? My water heater went out last night, so cold showers. That's
Nice.
what's up. Cold showers, man. No fun.
Man, we don't really have water heaters here in the Philippines like you all do in the U.S. Like when you wash dishes, you do not do it with warm water because there is none. So if you want to take a hot bath,
Yeah, but it's warm enough there. The water's warm, right?
No, it's freezing. Does that not make sense? Because it's underwater, underground.
No, it makes no sense at
That's
all.
where water is.
Oh,
Okay.
Well, it's not warm water. I can tell you that right now. So you have like this little thing on your wall that heats up water if you want to take a shower, but that's it.
Oh, no, what does it like last for like 10 minutes?
No, the way the water pours through it seems to have some type of quick heating device, like in a water kettle type of thing.
I see.
This is the way that it appears to me, but yeah, it sucks washing dishes. Like if you fried something with cold water, you have to wash everything twice.
Yeah.
You Americans, you're all have it so easy.
The lap of
water heaters and our Arby's, we got everything.
Well, it's central air.
Yeah.
Nobody here has central air, and it's hot all the time. It makes no sense. So you're already going to be bashing on Arby's, huh, Perch?
That's
Making
it.
it
That's
personal?
the show. That's all I got. I promise.
Goodness.
There's no more for Arby's.
Is there going to be a pop?
We should
by
take
culture?
wagers.
Is there going to be a pop by culture episode this week?
Yeah, we should.
We didn't have it Tuesday because it was voting. So,
It was the primaries.
But yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's very responsible of you. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Thanks. It was more so that I needed to go vote, but yes.
Very good. Let's hear from. Let's see who we've got that signed up for the Patreon this week. We got some shout outs in the house. First up, thank you very much to Daniel Partita, also known as the Gold Guardian, the protector of Golden Gate City. Thank you very much to Bravo Dave, who goes around fighting crime as Braveheart, the protector of Defiantville. We've also got Chapel Pluto, who fights as the Plutonian and is the protector of Ecliptica, and as well as Jimmy James, who is Drawing Tall and the protector of Pallet Peak. And thank you very much to Mike Daniels for returning Zero Nova, the protector of Lumina Heights. And I do appreciate everyone for supporting us on the Patreon. If you have not checked that out, there's a link in the video description. And that is lots of fun. Over 8 hours of brand new podcast every single week. If you like that, we do have a few super chats here. First up, Kalichi Oki. Rest in peace to Akira Toriyama, 1955 to 2024. And this is a huge loss, Perch. I know that you and your daughters are huge manga fans. And this guy has been a legend for a long, long time.
No, absolutely. It's and I'm glad we're getting some more. I mean, I'm sorry for his passing, but I am glad we're getting more recognition of some of these creators here in the U.S. These names are becoming more common. So it's, Toriyama-san brought a lot to the market, a lot more than kind of what you realize in just his more popular works. And a lot of people were inspired by his work, and, everything from, even Oda-san talks about Toriyama as being an influence to his career. So there's just a lot of pieces there, and it's a huge loss.
Yeah, I saw an outpouring of sadness, obviously, over this. Not only in the comments but all over social media, and really big loss from the comic book community. We've also got Federico de la Casa. I just read the last 2 issues of Larson's Savage Dragon. It became a porn splatter comic. What the hell? Distant from Spider-Man in my taste. And rest in peace, Toriyama.
It's not rest in peace, Data. I mean, it hasn't become this. I mean, it's been
there for a while.
Occasional
like
breaks, yeah. I mean, there was a moment where let's see, how do I put this and not get you demonetized? She flew into the air as a result.
I remember
of
that.
Things exploding.
Culmination.
You mean like a fart?
He shot her into the wall.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that you had to go pick up any modern Savage Dragon, and it's not what you remembered. Larson hasn't been that guy in a long time.
There's still elements.
I give him credit though. I've got some video coming out in some month from now, but Larson is giving you what he's telling you he's going to give you. At the very least, I'll give him that. You know what you're. I guess not. Sorry, Federico. I guess not you, but most people, you know what you're in for when you pick up that book. You are in for splatter.
I do know.
Yeah.
Do you order any Savage Dragon, Yule?
I order actually. I normally just order one for myself. I had one customer that would have it on his pull list, but he died, and I kind of kept it going, and now I have them. And, I feel like there's a reason behind it. Anyway, recently there was an anniversary issue, and I got extra copies for the store, and they all sold. So I've been getting a few extra copies, and they've been selling.
So Heidi McDonald wasn't full of shit when she said the comic customers are all dying off?
No. This guy had a tumor or something.
Oh.
He went in. I mean, he was an older customer. He went in for a bad shoulder, and then he found out he had something in his head that killed him.
Yeah.
He had 3 months later. It was shoulder, head, dead. But
I worked with a guy. He went in to go donate blood. And 2 weeks later, they called him up. They're like, "You have leukemia." It's like, what? And like two weeks later, he was in a coma. I could not believe it. Had no idea he was sick.
You can
happen fast.
Look good on the outside and still be bad on the inside. Get checked out.
People tell me all that all the time.
People look at you, Perch, and they're like, "How sick are you?" And you're like, "Listen, I just have a small back ailment. Everything else is fine."
It's like what you see looks bad, and what's inside is much worse. So
Exactly.
It is a problem. I mean, people are dying off at like late 30s. It's just they're dropping like flies at this point. And but it makes sense. Like, I mean, this is a comic industry where you have writers and editors complaining about teeth just randomly ejecting from their mouths for no apparent reason. And so if that's your life, then I would expect that my mortality rate is going to be like 38. So I completely get why they think this.
Yeah, that was a strange thing. I got a fun video coming up about that one. We got Lane Kramer. Reminder soon, doc review of Suffering, Jackpot and Black Cat #1 is coming. Any chance we can get Perch to review it and Suffer too?
No.
You're not going to read Jackpot and Black Cat?
I mean, I'm gonna read all this stuff, but nobody wants to hear me talk about this for a while. I mean, I suffered my way through that. Is that one going to be
Celeste Bronfman or Jed McKay?
No, that's not Jed McKay. Jed McKay is going to be on the new... he's part of the new X-Men lineup.
That's good.
I don't know why Celeste Bronfman ended up being the owner of that character. I think that's her name, right?
Who else wants her?
Like that.
Yeah, well, there you go. But I'm not looking forward to that. I don't imagine Doc is either. But it can't be worse than X-Men 32.
X-Men 32 was one of the worst comics that we're going to get there, I guess.
Yeah, it's like it reminds you of the Tom Taylor X-Men Red days. It was that bad. So Adam Frey, the biggest fan of person I know. Team, I have 2 weeks travel starting on Sunday. Got a Hulk Omnibus and One Piece volumes 1 through 3 in my bag. What else do y'all recommend for comic travel reads?
Get volume 4
Day
through
Tripper.
8.
4 through 8?
Okay. Get more One Piece. Day Tripper. That's a good one.
Don't. It has some napkins.
Yeah, there you go. Get more One Piece. You get that. Adam, if you're, if you like old X-Men and you haven't done My Hero Academia, go there. It's X-Men from the late 70s.
Apparently, Adam is going to be in San Antonio, Perch. Is there any chance you can go meet him up there at the Whiskey Creek and get a drink?
That'd be great.
He wants to buy you a beer.
That would be nice. I'd love to see Adam.
There you go. Yeah, just email Perch. Maybe we'll meet up with you. San Antonio is a great city.
That's not. Yeah,
it's a drive.
That's not like an hour for me, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, I used to drive down and visit my aunt when I was living in San Antonio. She was in the Dallas area, so yeah, that should be a whole lot of fun. I always personally, I would buy new comics from Comixology, the digitals, and just bring my tablet with me. So I don't know, get Shonen Jump app, and then you can just read all of them. You don't even need to have them all, right?
Yeah, and you can download for offline reading now as well, which is pretty nice.
For $3, it's literally the best deal in entertainment.
I know a lot of people are resistant to digital, but $3 a month unlimited everything is it's insane. Like 1,000 chapters of One Piece and hundreds of chapters of Academia, and I'm just like, there's so much in there.
Do you think it would make a difference if Marvel or DC tried that approach?
Yeah, they're going to have to. I mean, they're dragging their feet at this point. They're dealing with a bunch of pre-existing license agreements, but they're going to have to, because otherwise they're just getting smoked.
Yeah, because the DC, it's like if you pay us $11, you can get access to new comic books 30 days later instead of 90, and you can have a limited access to a Batman library. Yeah,
it's a terrible value proposition. It doesn't work very well, and I don't get it. But I mean, you get the Shonen app, the Jump app is like day and date translated.
It even reminds you when they come out. You were reading this, and we have another chapter.
Been crazy.
Caleb says Sentry's a black gay woman in a wheelchair. Is that true?
I won't read it.
In a wheelchair, yes. Black, yes. I don't know about gay. Is she gay?
All likelihood, based on my
I didn't read it.
It's not good.
Yeah.
No,
I haven't been reading this series. I don't care about like dime store Superman in the Marvel universe.
Well, it doesn't really reference the original Sentry either. I mean, the Void shows up at the very end for a line, like literally like a word in a bubble. That's how they reference that. Like the comic makes no sense.
Can't Miracle Man and Kid Miracle Man kill Sentry and the Void once and for all, please?
They are dead already.
Oh.
He also
kill him.
He also says Punisher was canceled after 4 issues. Tini Howard has lasted longer than that, and she's boring.
Well, that writer sucks. That's why.
David Pepos.
David Pepos is claiming that it was always supposed to be a 4-issue miniseries, but it was announced as an ongoing. Who am I supposed to believe here, Perch?
No, it was absolutely not. It was absolutely an ongoing. That's a bald ass lie.
Oh. 4 issues.
Well, we always knew it was limited.
Yeah, I mean, when Marvel says it's an ongoing, like what does that mean, right? I mean, it was like is it going to be 4 issues or 6 issues or 3?
Guarantee David Pepose will never have a title that will keep going after he leaves. Okay, I guarantee it in my life. Okay, that's all.
I just I'm not supposed to have
like
his name in.
He'll finish off Daredevil. And then they'll get a new person on, and then they'll start it over again. That's David Pepose.
Yeah, he's the comic book series killer.
But getting canceled in 4 issues is impressive. I think the only person I know that did faster was Jeremy Whitley on Power Pack, right? It was 3 issues.
That was 3 issues. And then that there was a Wakanda tie-in that went 2.
And that was an ongoing.
Well, I mean, again, they're all announced.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. There was no end plan when they announced it.
Unless they're just going to screws up and they're going to, like, before his book comes out, it's like, oh yeah, this is 5 issues. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
His Thunderbolts was perfectly good. I mean, not even perfectly good. It was actually really good, but I guess people didn't understand what he was saying.
Well, yeah, and it rips the legs out from under it when you tell people. I mean, you've got all these lousy ongoing books, and you say, well, this one's going to be 5 issues. And then you don't really advertise or promote it. And it was a good book. It wasn't the most amazing book of all time, but it was a good book.
For Marvel standards right now, it was pretty
sure.
Good. Yeah. Federico De La Casa in Italy says, I've tried to read X-Men now. They've gone full-blown killers, no remorse. What happened to fight a world that hates them and they enjoy doing it. That was the weirdest part in X-Men 32 was just how much joy they derive from murdering so many people.
I hate it. I mean, this is the same thing with the fall of House of X issue. You've got Colossus kind of giddily, like, let's just throw people into the wall, and they're just like they're smiling and happy. And I think it reads like wish fulfillment for the writer, because I mean they also drop it as like time to go kill some fascists, and then you're like, it's so off what the X-Men are.
Gerry Duggan says this is what we've been reading for 60 years and just didn't realize it.
Yeah, he's out of his mind. And if you look at the beginning of House of X, and you have that scene with Hickman where you've got Nightcrawler and Wolverine, they're storming the Orca station. They're intentionally trying not to murder people. Look at that comic. They're intentionally trying to just get their mission done and not kill humans. And you have that Wolverine Nightcrawler scene that's very kind of touching, very on character. And then you fast forward to this, where it's just like it just is the worst comic. This is by far the worst. This is worse than the Austin era. This is the worst. I'd rather see Angel's blood curing AIDS than this.
Callum says, is it true that Tom Brevoort disowned his son for voting different? That's what he put out on social media about
sure
9 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. Well, he's a classy guy.
He is a classic guy. We'll get to that. Federico de la Casa, the next Marvel goal, ongoing cancel at the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's the record that can't be beaten unless you cancel something before it ever even started.
With all the stuff they've done, though, haven't they done something that they later called a one shot? Like here's issue 1 of this thing that we're doing, and like Timeless was supposed to be a bigger thing. Well, I guess they came back and did that one. I guarantee you they have.
It came back a year and a half later, though. Wasn't that strange?
Yeah, I don't. Nobody knows what they're doing over there.
Yeah, they're gonna break some record. Tommy reviews Hail West at the Comics Aficionados. Sentry got replaced with a woman in a wheelchair, and Zack Snyder went on Joe Rogan with a huge amount of copium with his DC stuff. Shouldn't Zack Snyder be like concentrating on Rebel Moon? Why does he keep calling Batman a god? You know what I'm saying, Dylan? Like, it makes no sense. Batman's the one that isn't a god.
I think that's because that lets you into how he views Batman. I think if you see that that's how he views Batman, his Batman makes a lot more sense now. If you see that's how he thinks of him, as a god. And yeah, I think the Rebel Moon stuff is done now. He's just promoting now. I think that's all done from what he was saying on the podcast.
A huge series of movies.
Well, these first 2 are done now, and I think
they're in productions. This production cycle's over.
Yeah, he said both the R-rated cuts are coming out, I think in the summer, I think, something like that, pretty soon. The way he's talking, it sounds like he's pretty much done with Rebel Moon for right now. He's just on the promotion tour.
Did you like Rebel Moon?
I have not watched it, and I don't plan to watch it. I don't care about
Star Wars ripoff, right?
Yes, it's his version of Star Wars. I like not modern Star Wars. I used to like Star Wars at a time, but when that first trailer came out, it didn't look good. And then anytime Snyder has anything to do with writing something, I'm not in it.
Never works out.
No, he needs to just sit in that director's chair and not move from that. He can make things look cool. He's not a good writer. He doesn't have the brain for it. He can't do it.
No, he definitely he never got the DC heroes, Josh, at all. And I guess he can't accept that his take on Superman and Batman are off.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying that for years. They're terrible takes. He doesn't understand these characters, and he shouldn't be writing them. So,
but he will not let it go. Hopefully, he had a good time on Joe Rogan Experience. I'm sure it was good.
Yeah, take that, Snyderverse fans. We hate you.
I don't hate anybody, but I think they are misguided. They say that's the best version of Superman ever. It's maybe you like.
That comment is not approved or authorized by Wes. Please don't screw this channel. You can come.
Listen, I've said enough stuff about the Snyderverse that they already mad at me, but maybe they forgave me. Wade says, bleep Rebel Moon, go see Dune Part 2 instead.
It is a better movie.
It's Perch approved?
Oh, yeah, Dune Part 2 is better than Rebel Moon, for sure. But Rebel Moon's
Did you take the girls to it?
No.
Okay, I was about to say, did they get bored?
Yeah, they would not sit through that. I mean...
Yeah, it would be rough.
Put the blue...
Did anyone else see Dune 2? Is Dune 2 good?
I liked it. It was good.
Was it better than the first one? Because the first one was rough to get through. It was really, really slow.
This one's pretty slow too. I thought it was about the same as the first to me, to be honest. I know a lot of people are saying it's the greatest movie of all time ever made, but I thought it was just as good as the first. I liked it, didn't love it though.
Is it better than The Matrix?
No, not even close. Not the first Matrix. It's better than every other Matrix after.
Well, the first Matrix is like the best movie of the last 30 years, right?
Yeah, the first Matrix is amazing. But no, it's not better than The Matrix.
All right. Well, they need to work harder then. We do need to get into these X-Men. This was a very bad week in X-Men. Perch, I know you've been covering X-Men extensively, but we had the Tom Brevoort Substack thing, which I think was probably blown a little bit out of proportion. But we also got the news of X-Men 700. Doesn't really make sense that it's not called Uncanny X-Men number 700, and actually that they think it's 700. We've also got the Steve Foxe apparently is still going to be writing X-Men, doing this apocalypse thing, but we've got new issues of Weapon X-Men, which was very disappointing. Miss Marvel, the Mutant Menace, which had Wolverine in no shit. He had like an apron on and was basically Momverine. Never seen that version of him before. And then X-Men 32 really took the cake with the atrocity that was Gerry Duggan trying to write these characters.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was awful, and more bad news is coming. I mean, you still have the creator talent as it's come out, the plot of basically the X-Men trying to reintegrate themselves. I mean, just the stuff that we're looking at what's coming just gives me no hope. But the Gerry Duggan, I mean, it's frustrating because you go back and you read comics from 5-6 years ago, and I mean, I was not his favorite fan of him, but it wasn't terribly bad. And I mean, his Uncanny Avengers work was not great, but at least more or less kind of felt like the characters. But this feels like kind of nobody cares about the characters at all. There's no background or history, and they're just basically you get 22 pages of just random murdering people in red costumes. That's what this comic is.
Talking about fascists.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's time to go murder some fascists. Emma rolls down her window, just kill some people, and let some kids, go and presumably murder some others and loot. Get out there and kill some people. It's just such a bizarre, tone-deaf message for what the X-Men are. And the fact that it's coming at the same time as we're getting gaslit with all these, this is what the X-Men have always been. I mean, what are you talking about? I'm censoring myself in real time. But none of this adds up. And it's not a fun read. It's murder porn. It has no point. If you read the Kieran Gillen side of this thing, the rise or fall of 10 of Powers.
Rise of the Powers.
There you go. Rise of the Powers. That one, again, not my favorite thing. And I think Gillen is just way too, up his own butt on the Mr. Sinister and the clones storyline. But still, there's at least some kind of thought and writing there. This what Duggan's doing with the X-Men is truly awful.
Yeah, the Rise of the Powers. I thought the first issue was good, and the second one was almost incomprehensible.
Yeah, just the clone Sinisters and the Dominion, like this. It's like they're trying to figure out what Hickman was doing, but they don't really understand it, so they're just throwing words around. It's not, but at least the characters more or less feel like X-Men characters, sorta. Again,
you mentioned Gerry not being that bad not that long ago. I thought his Savage Sword of Conan was absolutely fantastic. Mm-hmm. That's a great series. And then I thought his Savage Avengers, for the most part, was pretty cool.
Yeah,
agreed.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it's better than it should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the characters should be the character. I mean, they should at least feel like the characters. This would be if Captain America wakes up one day and he's like, I'm tired. I don't want to help people. And, F it. I'm going to move to Mexico. Like none of this stuff fits the characters.
Now, we did have another comic book, Yule, that I wanted to talk to you about. Yeah. We did get Ultimate X-Men #1. And I think one of the highlights about Ultimate Spider-Man and to a lesser degree Ultimate Black Panther that still kind of fits is it's an alternative to Amazing Spider-Man and Eve Ewing's Black Panther, which people I don't think are completely enamored with. Ultimate X-Men is kind of a good story from Peach Momoko. I mean, it might not be the art that everyone likes, but there's something to take away from that I think is important, and it's a conversation worth having. But as an alternative to X-Men or even having the X-Men name on it, I'm very confused about that one as well. Despite being a good comic book, it's not really an X-Men comic.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking for a strict, different story than what we were expecting. So you got Spider-Man who's doing his shit and gang war and all that stuff, and then here we have Ultimate Spider-Man where he's married. Black Panther's married and he is in control of his kingdom, sorta. And there's all these outside forces, and you got these really big stories going on. And X-Men usually is one of the biggest cast of characters in a book. And here we have one character who may or may not be a mutant. I mean, we know Armor from the regular series, and we assume she is a mutant, but it feels like she's getting her powers through something else. At least that's playing
like
a part of it.
Or some type of charm.
So that's playing a part of it, but it also plays a part in the story. Oh, this boy likes you. You give these buttons to each other. So that's a big, symbology thing or something. I think if we're looking for something different, we're getting it. If we're looking for something that's exactly like what we got, why are we reading Ultimate anyway? So, and if manga's kicking ass on American superhero comics so big, well, here's your chance to prove that it is, because you can get a comic book and it's very manga feeling. And that's how I feel about Ultimate X-Men. It's an interesting story. It's interesting. It's interesting alone. It's interesting how it plays with Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Universe. And is this going to tie in somehow? What's going to happen? I'm down. I liked it. I thought it was different. If we're talking about bad X-Men books this week, I don't think this one's it. But going with what you say, Wes, it might not totally be an X-Men comic book either.
It's almost baffling that it's called X-Men.
Well, there's a school. If we find out that the teacher is taking all the special kids later on to a private school after that, that would be X-Men.
Well, if it's a manga book, it's so that they can feed them to the rich people or something.
That's right.
I've read enough manga.
This comic, I mean, knowing a little bit about the next couple issues, this comic I think will feel a little bit more like X-Men. But weirdly, I thought it was by far the best X book of the week.
Easily. Not even close, but it's weird that it's called X-Men because it doesn't feel anything like it.
The funny part is, given where the X-Men are now, the biggest liability for the Ultimate X-Men book is being called X-Men as actually a liability for the title. We're in this weird world where having that name on it may actually hurt.
The X is still the best letter in the alphabet. Let's be real about it.
So what do you think, Perch? Is she a mutant, or is she getting her power from a totem or a charm?
No, I think she's a mutant. Yeah.
And maybe the totem just activated her power?
Yeah. Or maybe is like
allows her to believe in herself?
Yeah. There's a we'll see. Issue 2 or 3, I think we'll get that.
Well, remember that there was that preview where there was this like kind of Junji Ito kind of like manga horror thing going on where she's absorbing it into her, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, there's a twist in there.
A lot of people talk about X-Men and what it's all about. It's about race relations. It's about this. It's about that. It's about becoming a teenager and your powers kicking in. That's what it's about.
About puberty?
About puberty.
And here we go. Here's a young girl, and probably around that time, she's starting to develop her powers.
It's certainly very dark. It's far darker than I ever would have expected, Perch. I mean, I think, what are there? 2 suicides in this one?
Yeah, which ironically is, like 500 less deaths in the X-Men book.
Well, in about 500 less deaths or suicides than Tom King has put into DC Comics. So
that's also true. No, it's darker. I think it fits. I like you. I liked it. I think it's good. I think the X-Men name is going to turn some people off. I think Peach Momoko's weirdly getting kind of a love-hate relationship. There's people who really like her, but she's almost polarizing for people now. But the story is good. It's like, look, I mean, the Ultimate Universe is giving us something very different right now, which is nice. I mean, given what's going on over in the main line, that's a plus.
Well, her art isn't even really all that manga-ish. It's like it almost feels more like Japanese fables or something. You know what I mean?
I feel it's
Yeah.
more in the pacing of the story. It feels more like
I'll give you that.
manga, you know what I mean? Like it's slower. There's a lot of, I mean, we're in American superhero comics. This character would be talking to us, telling her life story before the third page was over, you know, and we get to
Eating in the
see, oh, there's
cafeteria.
mystery. There's what's going on. What happened? You know, we're going to find out more, I assume. And,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
it's not written for the trade, so to speak. Yeah, it's.
I mean, her art is not manga. I mean, it's got that style, but it's like Peach Momoko to manga is kind of like Akira Yoshida to authentic Japanese writers.
But
inspired by, but not the real
people
thing.
that don't know, the first thing they're going to see, if they know the word manga, that's what they're going to compare this to.
Because it's Japanese.
Yeah.
She's a
and
fantastic
I'm sure Marvel
artist,
would love that to be the case too.
Yeah. Did you get to read Miss Marvel, the Mutant Menace, Perch?
Yeah, I mean, what are they doing with Miss Marvel, by the way? I mean, that character can actually make them money, but you've got
basically reverted to her original self, and now she feels like an outcast because she's a mutant, not because she's Muslim.
Yeah, this is it's a waste of a story. It's very easy to correct that character. Start a title, give her some villains that are there. Maybe you can borrow some from another title. I don't know, but give her actual villains that she's going to have conflict with. Have her lose a few times because she's young and inexperienced, and just give her some bigger stories that people will remember. And don't worry about having, you know, now I'm a Muslim and a mutant, and maybe I wasn't Inhuman, so oh my god, everybody hates me. And like, what do you pick one? You get one. Just do one.
Do you like in Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Make the main villain somebody at that school she goes to. You know,
Sure.
I mean,
sure. Or you know,
how hard is this?
This is hard. She's in school with some kid. The kid turns out to be the son of a villain from, like, not a great villain, but a kind of crappy villain. And then the son figures this out, but rather than being ashamed that his dad's a villain, instead kills the dad, takes the power, becomes a bigger villain and more sadistic one. And then this is her conflict because maybe she had feelings for this kid, and now she doesn't because he's trying to murder everybody. And there you go. And you've got 20 issues. Call it a day.
Yeah, but they end up including Wolverine, and it makes me dislike the title just for what they're doing to him.
Sure. You don't need Wolverine in that book either, or Spider-Man either. Just give her an adventure.
No one needs Wolverine in an apron talking about, do you like your pancakes?
Yeah, well, he meant her ass. Yeah.
No, he's like, you need to go to school. Like, I'm very worried about your education right now. Like, that is not Wolverine.
It's easy to take any character, whatever, regardless of the race, gender, anything else, and have that character be successful. You got to give him a hero's journey, and you got to give him some conflict. It's the oldest thing in the entire world. But if you say I don't need to do those things, that's just what you got. Nothing.
The most conflict she's got in the last year, I guess, was fighting a talking mosque, to where I guess the leaders of the mosque themselves had lost touch with the community.
Yeah, that was a great time.
That was a real book. What was that?
No,
was that the Spider-Man event, right?
Yeah, that was kind of Dark Web. You had a giant moving talking mosque. I don't know why you're having her fight a building. I mean, just again, there's like Spider-Man can loan her a couple of villains. There's like 5,000 villains to pick from. Just get one. Have this villain.
She can have Killer Croc. What was his name?
No, it can't have Killer Croc. That wouldn't.
No, the Killer Croc from Spider-Man. He's got another name though.
The lizard.
The lizard?
No, there's an alligator guy.
Yeah. Give her the Shocker.
The one from X-Men?
I meant the villain, guys. The villain.
I'm gonna figure this out. I can't remember his name.
Very dirty.
You guys keep talking.
Right over
so X-Men. All right. So they were just like not acting like X-Men characters. I mean, haven't the X-Men since the Krakoa age gone through so much shit that it's time to start wasting fools? I mean, really? I mean, doesn't that make sense?
No, No, I
mean, people wanted to kill Charles Xavier. People wanted to kill Nightcrawler. People wanted to kill all these fools. What Wolverine was like, experimented on and totally used up. And none of them, well, except for Wolverine, none of them, Charles Xavier preaching peace. And now they're like, fuck it, let's just kill people.
But you can't have your arch villain. And again, this is a case where you've got Doc should be here to go into this, but where you got hundreds or thousands of villains out there, and you're settling on random dudes in red costume. That's the villain, and then robots that are either threatening, like, oh crap, the Sentinels are here, but they seem to destroy them with no problem. Like the Sentinels are easily handled in this book. So there's no conflict. And when there's no conflict and there's no threat to the X-Men, and then the X-Men decide we're just going to murder all these faceless people that bear no threat to us, it's not an entertaining read. It's completely out of character. And it's not what the characters do. It has nothing. It's completely off.
You know what's weird, Perch? I think they think Hellfire Gala was like the defining moment and the low point of X-Men, but they hadn't been losing up to that point. It was a surprise attack. And ever since then, we've just watched them murder everybody with the Orcus. They've never been defeated.
No, they had the one moment where the robots came in and sort of killed a bunch, but then they didn't.
They're all alive now.
And they're all just kind of randomly coming back. And they're like, okay, now we've had enough. What are you talking about? You've had a party like a week ago. In Marvel time, this is like 4 days ago. You're having a gala on your heroin island. And what
Digger, that's freaking Killer Croc and Spider-Man.
Digger?
Look at that dude. I don't even know where that
Give her Digger.
Sorry. That is
phrasing.
Yeah.
I do remember that character now.
Wait a minute. How does everybody get Digger for phrasing? And there was no smiles when I said give her the shocker.
That was a good one.
Yeah, sorry, Perch. I let you down on that one.
I was thinking about Digger the whole time. It went right over my head. Good one.
There you go.
The X-Men, the problem is that they go through all these Moira lives, right? And they're going to make the perfect X-mutant human relations society. And they include all the villains to get them all on the same side. And then they include Sinister. And like, how is that not going to go wrong from the very beginning, right? So like, I think the premise from the very beginning is like super flawed. And it kind of feels that this story was ultimately going to end up this way. Probably even if Hickman was back, it was still on the title, don't you think? I mean, there's no way any of this could go well unless you're going to say, at the end, we're going to wipe it clean and we're going to start over again. And it doesn't look like they're going to do that. So I'm really, I don't know what the hell they're doing here.
No, you have to bake in some flaw. I mean, there has to be a reason where this goes bad. And I think there were a couple options when you're reading the story at the beginning. It's like, are these the real X-Men? Are they in somewhere in the no place? That would have been an interesting concept, get them to come back. You could have done something along the lines of, we're realizing that with every resurrection, our powers are weakening. We're not as strong as we used to be. So that's a problem. There's a number of different steps they could have done here, but this just is, again, it feels like nobody cares. I don't know, Dylan, you're over there, Superman guy. You're having us listen to us talk about this absolutely crappy comic. What if we could have the Marvel DC and Superman could just come in and murder all these people in a red kryptonite rage? Would you think that would work? Would that work?
I'd prefer if that didn't happen, but I think that might be a little out of character. Maybe you could reach into the multiverse and grab someone. Maybe do that. Superman tends, even with Red Kryptonite, tends not to be as joyful about murder as the X-Men were in issue 32. So the weird thing,
the whole time. I mean,
yeah, and then John can give him a hug and everything's good.
Yeah,
that's how you solve that. The weird thing that I got like from reading that issue, because I haven't read X-Men since those old women from the YMCA came in and kicked the shit out of everyone. That's when I dropped X-Men. Yeah, that's when I was like, I don't care about the main X-Men book anymore. So this was my first one. I read it because Wes sent over what we're going to be talking about. So I read it, and it was weird how like the killing felt like it was supposed to be empowering the way they wrote it, and I didn't understand that. And then the dialogue was so bad. The dialogue was really bad in this book. They have the part where they're like, "Oh, how'd you get out of the gal?" It's like, "I left the gal because I have depression." Like, what? What am I reading right now?
Oh,
It
for
was
sure.
it was a rough comic to get through.
But Dylan, these are real topics, man, that the kids are like struggling with. We're hitting home with the kids.
Yeah, true. Everyone's got depression, so they'll
I mean,
relate.
every kid can identify with being depressed, going into space, getting an alien monster legion, and then bring it back to Earth to just murder a bunch of people. I mean, this is tapping into kids who feel depressed and then
Absolutely.
apparently want to kill everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a serious note, we have to like look at these people though that are writing these books and what their views and outlooks are on life, and that right there kind of explains enough. I mean,
yeah, but they're just trying. I mean, think about when there's a cheesy line in a comic we do like, right? And it's just like they're just speaking to an audience that isn't us, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean?
I'm not even saying the line. I'm saying the approach to the story, how they're writing these characters. Because I promise you, these writers think the X-Men are heroes with what they're doing right now.
Oh, for
and
sure.
Any sane person is going to go, "That's not heroic." But go look at their Twitter and see what they're supporting. And look, I'm not trying to make this political. I'm just saying, go look at their Twitter, look at what they're supporting, and it all makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't do that. And if I don't like it, it really doesn't matter, right? It's just like write a good story. I don't like, let's say I don't like Chuck Dixon's politics necessarily, but it didn't ever prevent me from enjoying a comic that he wrote if I read it.
Yeah, but how hard how hard did he lean with his politics into his stories? If you go read
I don't know. If I'm going with if I'm going under the premise that this dude loves guns and he's, a Republican or something like that, then I could probably see it. The thing is that like with stronger editorial or like mandates, like maybe Jim Shooter had when, he was like, all stories have to end after the one issue. No to be continueds, that type of stuff. So if you have that laid down and they're like, oh, we need an alternate point of view. We need another voice in this story so that everybody can be involved in it. This guy knows how to write those stories already anyway, but maybe it was more specific at that time than it is now is really what I think.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean,
maybe I don't know. I don't know shit. I don't know shit about Dick.
No, it's during that time though. I mean, overall, you didn't have this kind of stuff so blatantly out there. I mean, Mark Grunwald, if you dug, you knew his politics, but you wouldn't guess that he was, super left wing from, reading Captain America. It never showed up, even though you did have Lizard Ronald Reagan. But you wouldn't see it. Today it's just lazy and sloppy, where there's no like attempt to. And it goes back to the characters being themselves. So I'm joking with Dylan, but yeah, Superman wouldn't in a joyful rage just run out and murder a bunch of people, even under red kryptonite. He'd be kind of smirking and sad about and blowing out, the torch in the Olympics, like the best movie of all time, Superman 3. But anyway, but that's I know. But still, the characters should feel like themselves. And when you go astray so badly, I mean, this is why you create new characters, so they can go off and just murder random humans and be happy about it. If you have a new character where that's the personality from the start, fine. But when it's a character with a 50-year history and they've shifted, and it's not like a gradual change, but they weren't acting like this a couple issues ago, then it's jarring and it sucks. But
did you notice it's weird that Emma Frost now can shoot energy out of her hands?
Yeah, it's why brass knuckles energy blasters?
Did Tony give her those?
Yeah, because he's like, you need these to defend yourself, I guess. I mean, you're psychic and you can turn into a giant diamond form and whatever. It's like, well, but you can't use your psychic powers because the Sentinels will come. But why bother with that since we can easily destroy them? So we'll give you some knuckle blasters. Like what is going on? But in this same issue, in Duggan's run, we've got Dr. Gregor, the big Orcus villain, who for no apparent reason is just like, hey, you know what? I came to the conclusion that maybe these guys have been working with for years in a space station on the next to the sun, making plans of murdering all the mutants, might just not be great anymore. I think I'll help Cyclops and be a friend. I'm an ally now. What in the hell?
He murdered her husband twice. Once when he was a human, once when he was a robot.
Yeah, but you know, bygones.
It's been a strange journey. Now, Dylan, you jumped in on House of X Powers of 10, and we're jumping in on the X-Men early on Hickman's run, right?
Yeah. I read all Hawks and Pox. I read like the first few issues of X-Men. We talked about while you were gone that I jumped off when the old YMCA women came in and like beat up everyone. That's when I hopped off of the main X-Men book. I was like, I don't care about this. I kept up with X-Force for a little bit, and then Wolverine I'm still reading. But yeah, the main X-Men book I hopped off after that. I was like, I don't care about this anymore.
And you just reminded me, Horticulture came back this week. We hadn't seen them since that second issue of X-Men from Hickman, and they show up in Miss Marvel. Apparently, that's her villains now. They're with Orcus.
Oh, there you
go.
Why?
There you go. Finally.
Oh, we've seen them, by the way. They were in the Empire tie-in for X-Men. Believe it, you might have missed that one.
We did not see that.
What?
It seems like something I might have read. Maybe
Empire with a Y. Remember?
That's right.
Yeah.
No, it's they
horrible
again. Why?
And totally skipped on that one.
You
don't need to read the entire Marvel universe, people. Just read the 5 issues of Blood Hunt. Promise. If any of them are going to suck, then you only read 5 of them.
You don't need the 54 tie-ins.
I promise you don't. I promise.
But yeah, but how? There's no. So Josh, with the incoming new X-Men that we have, the new writers and new launches, you know, one of the people in this group is Jed MacKay. He's still doing the Avengers. So how does this work where you have a guy who is doing flagship title, the Avengers, and then also doing a flagship title for kind of a whole different corner of the Marvel universe? What's the hope that we're going to get good characterization and good stories when you're also stretching your talent like that?
Right. I mean, it's like you have hope because Jed MacKay is actually a competent writer. He's a competent storyteller. Sure. But then once you start, I hate using this as an example because I don't think he's the best writer. But Joshua Williamson, I mean, look at what happened with him. Like, he can deliver decent stories, but you throw him on a million things and everything just starts sucking. And I'm worried that's what we're going to see with MacKay.
No, he's still doing Doctor Strange and Moon Knight, and there's another book he's doing, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, I mean, granted, you're getting like a horrible page rate, so you need something to put food on the table. But still, this isn't smart planning, and it's just going to result in crappier continuity, and you know, all that. That's all it goes.
And him crossing him over because he doesn't want to write multiple storylines.
Dude, he's going to write Blood Hunt. It's going to have a shit ton of characters in it.
That's right.
His characters.
He's going to be writing 50 characters soon.
Now you pair him up with like a Capullo, and you know it will be a good title, and people will like it. But still, that's just not organizing your talent well. And this is how people implode. We saw this with Jason Aaron. We've seen it with Donny Cates. Now, not everybody, you know, drives their boat into the ground, but still, this is the problem you get.
Same thing happened with Brian Bendis at DC. Remember, he was on like 8 titles at once.
Well, and Marvel, both. I mean, you know,
we call it the Chris Claremont.
Yeah, and I mean, look at Tom King, a legendary, excellent writer, and then he started doing a bunch of stuff at DC all simultaneous, and then all the stories went bad.
I maintain that his stories went bad right at War of Jokes and Riddles, or perhaps even earlier at Batman #1.
Yeah,
one or the other.
It was Batman #1.
Yeah, I'd say it was right at last.
We got fooled by David Finch.
His first arc was fine at best. It really went south. Second issue of the second arc, I Am Suicide issue #2, it just plummeted.
Was that the one where he tries to kill himself as a kid?
It may have been.
Where Alfred witnesses it and doesn't try to intervene.
Ooh, that'd be a fun Alfred story where he's just trying to kill Bruce Wayne. kid Bruce Wayne before he becomes Batman. Like maybe he gets a what if or a
He's
Walker
paying kids to
power.
bully him at school and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But Bruce still like worms his way out of all those events. That'd be fun.
Oh my goodness. It's a wonderful time to be alive for X-Men fans. But we know also Perch, I don't know if you mentioned this, but certainly Christopher Can't Write Well is going to be one of the writers. He was recently in a Adventures in Poor Taste X-Men like interview with all the creators, and he and Brevoort were the only new ones that showed up.
Yeah, I don't want him there. I mean,
look, Dr. Doom was okay if I remember correctly.
No, yes. But this is. I won't use an Arby's example. I mean, like this is.
Do not call him the big monster.
Oh, you're talking about,
or we're going to be upset.
Yeah, this
okay. This is like curly fries at Arby's. They're do you like them? They're good, but still, why are you there?
Exactly. So whatever Cable issue he's writing, why are you here? If you don't like Cable, I would recommend don't read it.
Wes's horrified face here. Yeah.
Did you read his Thanos? You cannot compare that to the quality that you get from the meats at Arby's.
It did feel like a big meat. Yeah.
Did you like Thanos?
No, it was terrible.
No.
Maybe he'll be the new big X-Men villain. There are no X-Men villains. That's a big problem, Perch. If you haven't noticed that, they're all good guys now.
Well, they all joined with Xavier and Moira. So you were gone when I brought up, Sinister's hanging out with you. How good can this be? It's going to go to crap. This book going to crap is, the premonition from the very beginning.
But let's be honest, though. You could have actually done something really good with the X-Men have to work with Sinister. They have to partner with him. That could have been a really compelling and complex story with different levels, but you got a bunch of yahoos that don't understand, nuance or storytelling or characters.
What they need is to hire this company, this Sweet Baby company, to come in and then just
Baby Inc. to fix it all up.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem here. We just these guys are stretched in. They need some narrative help. They bring this company in. It will help. They will have more compelling stories. That's the answer.
We'll have a banner that says all heroes or all mutants are welcome.
Well, yeah. I mean, just like think about the complex storytelling that they could bring to the table.
The Avengers just start murdering the X-Men.
Hello, Aaron.
No, the X-Men would murder the Avengers and just shoot them in the face.
I mean, sure, they could murder each other. You could do anything you want. Why not?
Aaron Sparrow is at the party. Welcome to the party, sir.
Hey guys, sorry. Apparently, my electricity went out at some point during the night, and so my alarm did not go off.
Where did you get that Man Thing shirt? Because people have been asking me about it.
Have they really? I think I just got it on. I think I just got it on T Fury or T Turtle or one of those
Amazon
internet T-shirt sites.
Sorry,
no, not Amazon.
My internet cut out a second. Did you say you got it from T Franklin?
T Franklin.
Wow.
What'd you do for that shirt?
Is that a wheelchair?
Somebody, yeah, this shirt identifies as a brave woman of color. Many new taglines to their list of disabilities coming soon. No, it's like T Turtle or something. One of those sites that or maybe 80s tees. One of those sites that offers pop culture shirts.
Likely does not deliver to the Philippines like every other place in America.
No, see, this is why you need to just be stockpiling shirts with one of us, and then when you come out in a year or so, you just
when I come for
a suitcase that's just for your shirts and for action figures and for everything else we'll load you up with that you don't get.
My wife would love that.
Arby's
I
sandwiches.
could send it back via freight.
How did I know that the moment I came in that Perch would be talking about Arby's?
I said I wouldn't.
It's personal.
By the way,
weird.
Nerdy Girl is in the chat here, but she had the best idea for MCU on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it, which is do a movie kind of Ultimate Spider-Man style. Get Tobey Maguire, get him a kid, and just run with that.
Yeah, I would. I'd be into that. It'd be nice to see some great villains in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man universe again, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The guy who played Sandman in those movies came out and said he thinks Raimi's going to make the fourth one. That just happened recently.
The one with Venom?
Yeah. Was it
Maybe
Thomas
we can do
Jane something or whatever? I can't remember. He's got like 3 names. Dude that
it. The guy
played
from
Sandman.
Wings.
Thomas
Yeah,
Thomas
guy-
Church.
There you go. Yeah. The guy from George of the Jungle.
He kind of looks like the guy from Yellowstone.
A little bit.
Didn't he go through some kind of cancel culture thing at some point?
Probably.
I
have
didn't-
no clue.
Didn't
I mean, who didn't,
everybody?
right?
Yeah.
That's right. T. Franklin, that's it.
Perch is the only person everyone kind of unanimously agrees that they like.
And hates.
No one hates Perch, right?
Oh, my
Everybody
friend.
hates Perch.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's always 2 to 4 in the chat that are like, Perch is here. What? And then everybody else is delighted.
Oh, today is not as bad, but no, absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
got to start letting us know what streams to watch when they're EFAPing you or whatever, because
I
I'm
don't know
really
until weeks
interested.
later. I don't catch up on my mail, and somebody sends me something like, "Hey, they're talking about you right now." I look at it, it's like, "Oh, this is from a month and a half ago." This is why I'm a terrible feud partner. I'm on delay. You can't. I'm not going to help.
The
I think
EFAP
the
thing
EFAP
always
guys
felt like
like
it was
you.
must have been sexual, but then I guess I figured out that they're just watching your video and making a video of your video.
So it's a reaction video.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Does
see,
EFAP does
reaction-
I've never seen Perch on the actual EFAP, like the real EFAP.
I don't think
I've never
it's
seen-
them. I think
Yeah, I've
it's
never
more
seen
like
them.
a
I've never
verb.
seen
It's
them
a
go out.
verb, not a noun right now.
Who cares?
Oh, gotcha.
Perch is decent. There you go. That's
All right.
basically sums it up.
Listen, on Tuesday nights, Josh and I on Pop by Culture, we get constant Perch requests. So
We do.
EFAP Perch
Yeah,
videos?
Why?
No.
no, just people
Oh.
wanting Perch on. They're like, they'll come in and they'll be like, "Where's Perch?" And it's like, have we ever had Perch on Tuesdays? Like,
Never.
were you
Perch
expecting
was
him?
drunk
And-
somewhere.
and-
That's where Perch is.
I get that every Comics Aficionados, and I have for years.
That's
Whatever
crazy.
reason.
Yeah, but to be fair,
I gotta
you
admit, I
had
haven't
Perch
ever got
on.
that.
Right.
Yeah, no, we would totally anytime open invitation, Perch, come on.
Yeah,
The
happy
people
to do
demand
it.
Perch.
I mean, I found a really great dive bar close here, and I'm just living there at this point.
Dive bars are nice.
Perch
Maybe we should
live from the
broadcast
dive
from
bar talking about
cool.
Madam Web. What could be better?
Oh, I'd love to do that. That'd be good. I came to realize
Playing darts?
I'm enjoying. I enjoy Critical Drinker, but I've come to a conclusion. I think I consume more alcohol than he does.
Mm.
I'm willing to take
Well,
that.
he
You know
chance.
what? You'll come to
Quality
Dallas Fan
videos. That's
Expo. Come to
That's
Dallas
right.
Fan Expo in June, and we will put that to the test, Perch.
Okay.
We
Aaron,
live in
Aaron and I
Dallas. I
met.
imagine we'll be there.
When did we meet, Aaron? That was 2 years ago, right?
2 years ago at Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. I was drinking for lunch.
Yeah.
I'll be there in 2025 if you guys want to still hang
good.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, there you
Everybody in the chat, start making your plans now.
That's it. Yeah.
Are we going to do a meetup? Are we going to do it real? Are we going to the fucking Arby's? For a little
I'll be a-
Meet
Oh,
up at
let's
Arby's.
take over. an
I will get
Arby's.
you Arby's. I will. No, I'll be a publisher by then, so we should absolutely do something.
Big Montana's on the
Should we-
house?
Yeah,
Should we plan a panel?
we should.
I don't
The
know. I'm
second
going to
I'm-
be in the U.S. for 3 weeks, so I'm going to have to figure something out for the Comics Aficionados, whether I'm doing it from the U.S. or recording stuff ahead of time.
We should definitely do a panel. Do a panel if we can get one. That'd be amazing.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll help set that up.
Well, I'm game. Let's do it.
We'll get that. We'll go to that dive bar. We'll have the panel there, and I'll bring Arby's in.
We'll
Nice.
do a
And then
wet
I'll have
T-shirt
Fairfield.
contest.
All right.
We're
Cool.
done.
Celebrate International Women's Day.
That's
the
true.
first 10 people in line get big Montanas.
Dude, I would be the first one in the line, man.
Did you see that company that did the supporting International Women's Day? It's like, we need to have more women in the workplace. This is why you hire women. By the way, another advantage to hiring women is you can pay them less. And it's like that.
No.
You have missed the point.
Oh.
I mean, that's certainly apparently Disney's motto, considering the
You
lawsuit.
You should have stopped right before the end there. Yeah.
It's like the Osborne daughter when she was like, "What do you mean you don't want immigrants? Who's going to mow your lawn?" It's like, man,
Oh, yeah.
that's not the word.
No,
Wrong
that is
argument.
that is a subtle racist argument that comes up amongst
Yeah, you're
California
showing your
liberals all
racism.
the time. Yeah, like I remember that we actually had Antonio Villaraigosa, a man who attached his wife's last name to his. His name was Tony Villar, but he changed his name to sound more Hispanic for political purposes, even attaching his own last name to his. And his big push for allowing illegal immigration into California is he was giving a speech and he was yelling, "We clean your toilets." And it was like, wow. And so he later had an appearance. I think it might even happen at Star Wars Celebration, where people showed up and threw toilet brushes at him.
Wow. I thought you were going to say like the plungers. They all had plungers instead of lightsabers or something like that.
Oh, that'd be great. Except that he could actually claim that he was being threatened at that point. It's kind of hard with toilet brushes.
With plungers. There's strawberry fields too in Southern California. Just want everybody to know that.
People in chat. So Whataburger does smoke Arby's. I'm sorry. That far better.
Listen, Whataburger's got good chicken strips. No one's denying that.
Yeah, Whataburger's so middle of the road. Whataburger's overrated.
Their burgers suck.
I don't argue with that either, but I said smoked Arby's.
That's patently not true because I know that Arby's is smoking.
Yeah.
Like their chicken salad sandwich is amazing. They used to have a Reuben that was to die for.
You just got to brace yourself, cough up the $350 and get Five Guys.
It is expensive.
Like Five Guys. Apparently it's
they've gotten out of control.
Yeah.
Everything's gotten out of control. Have we gotten out of control? Are we done talking about X-Men? Do we need to hear from the peoples?
I think we're good. We established I'm a drunk. Believe that. And we can move on from X-Men, yeah.
Deus Ex Macchiato is just a fantastic name. If Hickman is leaving, I hope DC will spend the money to get him on Titans.
Sure.
So do we think he's going to leave when he's done with Ultimate Spider-Man, or is he going to be a Marvel guy?
I think he's going to wrap up at Marvel. I think he's going to stay there. I mean, he's going to get the Claremont deal where they just pay him to not do as much over time.
For DC?
And they keep him. Yeah, they don't want him to leave. He'll get the Claremont contract.
Wouldn't you want him on Legion, though? Isn't that the story he always says he wants to tell?
Sure.
Boy, DC, if they want to start kicking ass, they got to start Legion in and everything out.
Yeah,
I'm with it.
Very nice. Dylan Lindsay, my little brother started his first pull list with the Danny Warren Johnson Transformers. Now he's getting everything Energon, even Void Rivals back issues. And that's how you do it, Yule. Get him into that pull list.
Yeah, and then the comic store gets the second, third, and fourth prints if you haven't got the ones that sold out. And there's trade paperbacks, all that stuff. Yeah.
Make sure he gets a Real American Hero, too. It's not part of Energon, but it's been really good.
I like that one.
Who's the artist that's replacing Mooneyham?
You said it was Paul Pelletier.
Paul Pelletier. Yeah.
Or whatever.
He's not as good as Mooneyham.
He's solid.
He's still a pretty good artist.
No, he's not even close to Mooneyham.
Very
Mooneyham has
style,
Mooneyham has a style that really lends itself to a Real American Hero more than almost anybody else that's worked on that book, I feel.
Is Skybound already falling apart with these licenses? I mean, they're losing Mooneyham already. They've got they're letting Kelly Thompson in the door. Like this seems like
you're not paying royalties, so I mean, you're going to come in, do a few issues, and then they're going to have to shuffle people because I mean, financially, it's just going to be tough for a creator to want to stay on that.
Other than Larry Hama,
but isn't Kirkman pays though, doesn't he? I mean, I would assume of all the people, he's the guy. I mean, he paid people to not say anything as they were working for over a year on stuff.
Yeah, you know? I mean, he pays.
That's pretty good.
He does, and it's a good gig. But if I mean, the challenge is if you get a decent paycheck, but you can't, you're not going to get any upside when the book goes. I mean, at some point, you want to leverage that work and try and get something that's going to pay you over time.
Was I the only one that thought it was the weirder choice? Wasn't Kelly Thompson on Scarlet? It was actually Dan Waters on Destro.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Kelly Thompson, like a
Dan Waters doesn't do action.
No, but it's like he does kind of some thriller type stuff, non-action. I mean, I don't know, makes some level of sense. I think
it would be a character study, just him thinking about what his life has been.
I mean, Kelly Thompson, like a horrible virus, is going to show up everywhere, but stab whoever she has to in the back in order to get a gig.
You don't think
I'm blaming it on I'm blaming it on Ben Abernathy.
Yeah, not bad. Not a bad theory.
Because he works at Skybound now. Obviously, he was working with Kelly on Birds of Prey, and obviously Dan with the Batman stuff that he was doing. But I don't get it. Everyone had Kelly Thompson on their top 10 books with Birds of Prey. I've read like 6 issues now, and I don't think any of them have been good.
You read 6 issues? I read.
That's 7 issues too many.
So
Yes.
I read the first issue. I'm like, ugh, I don't like it.
That's when I stopped. Yes.
So when I got number 2 in, I get the shipment sent to my house. When I get the shipment, I got Birds of Prey number 2, and I read like the first 2 pages to my girlfriend, and she's all, stop, I can't handle this anymore. And it just felt like the worst television show you've ever watched, and it's just,
she's like, if you continue, we will break up.
she's like, look, I suffer this comic book shit. I don't need to hear about it, okay?
Yeah, I don't get the lauding of that series at all. Federico De La Casa says so.
I was just going to say, if you went through Kelly Thompson's Twitter and you looked for references to G.I. Joe over the years, how many do you think you'd find? If you ran a search with her Twitter account and G.I. Joe, how many times has she talked about G.I. Joe?
She grew up with
the announcement.
Yeah, the announcement.
Favorite character ever. De La Casa says, so let's be clear it's clear that the Red Orca suits are manga references?
Yeah.
I'm colorblind. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I mean, for sure. I mean, because they've referenced a few times. It's like all these people in these red outfits. I mean, it's yes. I mean, it's a thinly veiled, which again, why?
They just look like AIM, but red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, AIM is easy to draw. If you're an artist having to draw this shit, I mean, what would you do? You'd like, let's make this guy in like a bag with a formless helmet on, call it a day. That's what I would do too.
And this is what kind of going back to you saying how they don't have any nuance in what they're doing. I remember there's this, I'm telling this to a larger audience now, there's this 21 Jump Street episode where they're dealing with the Bloods and the Crips, but they didn't want to get like blue and red on the screen. So it was like green and yellow. Different gang names, but that's what they're doing. I mean, you couldn't do something other than, you couldn't have like a magenta or something.
I like green. We're the photosynthesis gang.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like AIM is yellow. You don't confuse that with anything.
I'd like it if they were science nerds. You have the photosynthesis gang versus like the pure sunlight gang.
Sure,
the yellow. Like that'd be great.
Yeah. You can have a whole bunch of factions, flat earthers, and you can have like a bunch of things in there. I don't mind. I mean, the problem is less. I think it's just dumb to put in political references in a comic that are going to age like milk. But the bigger problem for me is again, there's no compelling villain. There's no compelling threat. You have to feel like the hero's in danger. They're not in danger. The Sentinels are no danger. The Arcos people are no danger. So it's like, yeah, the MAGA reference is I just pointless to me. But the fact that there's no conflict in this story makes it boring to read.
Well, you can do a comic that has a very specific point in time when you know that no one in the future is ever going to read those comics or seek them out. And that's where X-Men is right now. So, they can be completely on the nose because that comic is very much of this moment. No one will read it past this moment. It'll never be referenced in the future. It's not going to be anybody's favorite run except for 12 weirdos on Twitter and their sock puppet accounts. So, yeah, you can certainly get away with it in a book no one's ever going to care about.
But I mean, and no better illustration of how this audience is terrible than what went on with Pepe Larraz this week, of just like you curate this group that doesn't actually buy the comics, brag about not reading the comics because they don't want to support Disney, who apparently supports Israel. And then you see them just going at Larraz for like, you didn't put the appropriate percentage of diversity into a splash. What in the absolute hell? It's like you at some
eventually
point
it devolved into whether or not Gru was considered POC.
Yeah.
Gru like Sergio Energon.
Brew.
No.
Sorry.
Oh, Brew.
Yeah.
The alien.
You know what? I'm going to go at Pepe Larraz now. I'm mad that Gru the Wanderer wasn't in that cover.
God damn. Pepe Larraz is like, I don't ever draw anybody with the last name Larraz ever in these fucking comic books. I'll have you know.
It's so
painful.
ridiculous because it's like, how dare he only put on the popular marketable characters and not everybody, you know,
or the 700th
shit.
issue.
Yeah.
There is a moment, and
celebrating.
you have these things where you want to make a statement and you want to do all this and you want to signal to your friends and everything else. But there's a moment where you do want to actually make money. And when you take a look around, you realize your fan base is this. There has to be a sobering moment or hit over the head with a bottle moment.
Federico then says, Ultimate X-Men was a nice comic book, could be a harbinger comic. If the writers leave their political issues, we could have a story instead of their anger. I read that wrong the first time. I thought he was talking about harbinger for like Valiant Universe, which is basically
I love
X-Men,
that one
but
too.
I think it's a harbinger for things to come, to where they actually focus on the
capitalized
story.
He capitalized it. That makes me think.
So he means the title, then, right?
Yeah, he means
Yes.
the Valiant title.
Either
Harbinger
or,
was
it
good for a
works.
while. Yeah. I think people are ready for some escapings in here, Josh.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really jump in when we were talking about Ultimate X-Men earlier, but I read it. I enjoyed it. Again, it's not really what I want from X-Men, but I guess my take was I'm kind of hoping they take this Kitty Pryde approach of here's the young new member that's going to end up joining the X-Men, and then we'll get the team story. But yeah, I will say though, this is the one Ultimate book that didn't sell out on the day of release at my LCS. They had a stack left. So that was interesting. But yeah, we need some escapism. We need good storytelling. That's all people want. People want good stories that they know they can invest in creatively, invest in for a period of time and enjoy. And we're not getting that.
But more importantly, good artwork.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Common Set says he compares Peach's X-Men to Jeff Loeb's Ultimate X. So when I hear Jeff Loeb and Ultimate, I think of Ultimatum. That cannot be the comparison here, right?
Well, Ultimate X wasn't great either.
No.
But
I also think of Ultimates 3.
Yeah. Hey, you got some twincest in there. That was hot.
Well, it's hot when Joe Madera draws it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, look, you had Joe Mad on there. They could have put anything, any like ridiculous thing in that book, and we would have been like, I mean, all right, you're giving us Joe Mad, so we'll go with you on this.
Anything but an inker.
Yeah. He also says, do you think the shadow figure in Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men is Shadow King? Because I want that figure to be Amatsu Mikaboshi, aka Chow King. He fits with the Peach urban legend. Perch, you've probably thought about this. Do you think that's Shadow King?
Please.
Or do you think it's Chow King?
I know what's going to happen in this comic, so let's just you should have somebody else.
Spoil it, man. What are you doing?
I thought it was Shadow King.
No. It's fun. Like I said, I think the comic will feel a lot more like the X-Men in about 2 issues.
I say,
was it going to be Amatsu Mikaboshi?
Just.
All right, he can't
go.
say. That's probably a yes. There you go.
Come on,
Good talk,
it's
Common
with
Sense.
Peach.
Federico also says.
Sorry.
Catewell also says, or Federico De La Casa also says, Catewell is in the X-Men because nobody else showed up.
This is way more true than you realize.
Yep.
The rumor is that they offer the positions to a lot of people.
A lot of people.
They work down the Rolodex.
Is it just money? Is it? I mean, they're like, hey, I got this much money for you to write X-Men. Do you want to come along? Or they're like, I don't want you to be involved in it. Or I'm sick of Marvel. I mean, what could it be?
It's tired of Marvel.
X-Men's in a bad space.
Yeah, it's tired of Marvel. It's money. It's the knowing what that gig is gonna look like, which is a bunch of editorial craziness and tie-ins and just bullshit. And so, I mean, you get a lot of writers who they don't want to go do that, but they did go through a lot of people.
You know what also is going to happen, Perch, is what happened to Pepe the Raz, to where you go in and you write your story, that you've been contracted to do whatever, and then you have people that like Krakoa going in and telling you that you're a sexist or a transphobe or something.
Oh, for sure. I mean, what's funny is Brevoort's, doing this newsletter and kind of, I mean, he has always been a dick, but he has no idea what he's in for, because he's going to focus on certain characters and they're going to do these stories, and it's not going to appeal to the, Orgy Island storyline. And he's just going to get crapped on forever. I mean, I predict locking accounts, lots of blocks. That fandom that X-Men has developed over the last couple of years is one of the goofiest, insane groups I've ever seen.
I'm sorry. I think I interrupted you, Aaron. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. I mean, Perch kind of made the same point that I was going to make, is that nobody wanted to touch this because they knew what, not only the pay, the aggravation of working, in the X office, the fact that Tom Brevoort is a lot less popular than Marvel thinks he is amongst creators. There's a lot of issues there, but many of the issues come from the fact that people know what kind of audience X-Men has cultivated, and they just don't want to deal with the harassment. They don't want to deal with that annoyance. Why would you? So Tom Brevoort's team, came down to the who's who of who's left. And that's why we're getting the creators that we're getting on these books.
Dan Slott probably even said no. That's how bad it is.
Well, I'm sure Dan Slott doesn't want to expose himself anymore as being,
to anything but Spider-Man.
Can't sell without being on Spider-Man title.
The only thing that Peter David ever said, really, I think, negative about Marvel was doing crossovers.
For sure.
And I mean, like, I didn't want to do X Factor because I knew there'd have to be a crossover, that type of stuff. That's why I'm happy to stay on Hulk,
The challenge with Dan Slott coming in there is Christos Gage is busy. So
another book. Nothing will get done on time.
There's a ton of people who got asked was every top writer, including the ones at DC.
Very neat. Callum also says on Sweet Baby Inc., they're flagging people's accounts on Twitter, including mine, for speaking out against them.
Oh no!
What would you expect?
Your channel.
Yeah, seriously.
Awesome! I'm on another list.
I'm gonna start talking mad shit about Aaron Sparrow on X, and let's see what happens.
that'll get you hired.
Perch, did you do your Sweet Baby Inc. video?
Really?
You want to come work on the X-Men, Yule?
Yes.
Did you do your Sweet Baby Inc. video?
I've got one in there somewhere.
Everyone's got to.
People won't like it because it's like, all the things I've heard said are true, but there's another thing too here, which is laziness that I don't hear talked about a lot. With these game studios, it's convenient for them to have the story writing, these creative jobs that are often more expensive, outsourced to someone else, and so they're perfectly willing to let this part of, they're willing to let this part of their IP go away, and it's lazy. And then you get this other group that comes in and has one story idea, really, and they just clone and put it out. And so when you look at it, the thing about Sweet Baby is there's one trick in that bag. And so you got a lazy company working with a lazy company to bring out lazy product. And there's all the rest of it too, but that's the outcome.
It's like Tom King, man.
Sure.
Nobody's cheaper than
I got one story and I'm going to take it all over this place.
Nobody's cheaper than a Mary Sue writer.
Callum also says, and all I said was about the Spider-Man game, fix MJ and ungay Black Cat.
I suspect it wasn't the MJ part of that sentence that they triggered on. Yeah. And Black Cat is bisexual, so is it what would that be? It would be like half ungay, like it's not ungay.
Maybe it's full straight.
It's part gay, part gay removal. What
I believe it was Kierkegaard, or perhaps it was 30 Rock's Liz Lemon that said that bisexuality was just invented in the 90s to sell hair products.
Yeah.
HH and the guys at Sigma Comics. Warb, shout out to the Thinking Critical team having problems sending pre-formatted super chat today. Everyone hit like and subscribe to this important channel. Absolutely. Really appreciate the support, brother. I hope you enjoyed the barbecue in Kansas City. He should be in Orlando, correct? Or has a MegaCon happened yet? Maybe? Perhaps not.
Yeah.
I think Orlando was a couple of weeks ago.
Am I getting it backwards? Yeah, he went Orlando and then Kansas City. Not sure where he is this weekend. Maybe he's taking the week off and he's in New York. But really appreciate that. Definitely support those guys. Nerdy Girl creates Carrie. Sony with a really good team do a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Mayday team-up movie and had them up against the Sinister Six.
Look, it's such a good idea. I absolutely agree. It's right there for you. Get that nostalgia money. People are going to be like, "Oh my God, Tobey Maguire's doing this again. He's old. How's this going to work?" There's a girl involved. Like literally, this is just
Rachel Zegler as Mayday.
Sure, why
not?
Sure.
Look, I know we're saying this is a good idea, But is it really? Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
It's a good idea. Can they execute it? No.
That's a different story.
That right there.
Who cares? No, you don't think. If you're Sony, don't think. Just hire Tobey Maguire, put him in the suit, go with Sydney Sweeney for the daughter. Just why not? It will be inappropriate, but try it. Yeah. And then don't worry about you don't need to worry about much after that. People can kind of swing around. There's some explosions. You call it a day. People are like, wow, I feel good that I saw Tobey Maguire. And I remember I was younger and he was on the screen, and now I'm old, but I got to see him again, and he's still alive, and so am I. And that's all you need.
It really is what they should do instead of these stupid knockoff Spider-Man characters that no one cares about. They should just go get one of the Spider-Man they already have.
Yes, exactly.
That would solve all their problems.
There you go, Yul. I love that too. Just do this. You don't need to be dumber with this stuff. This is my problem: is don't be lazy. That's the Sweet Baby Ink thing. Be dumb.
Work harder, not smarter.
Look, I'm gonna say, in the world of Venom, Morbius, and Madam Web, telling Sony to be dumber is fucking terrifying.
Well, Aaron liked Madam Web, so Charlie.
I enjoyed Madam Web thoroughly, and not because it was good.
Charlie is so hyped for the Ghost Machine, going to be high quality.
Yes, I can't wait for Ghost Machine. Everything we've got so far has been really good. I'm excited.
Are you excited for the Peter J. Tomasi stuff? Because that's the only stuff that felt weird to me.
I'm still excited for it. Yeah, the weird sort of like family thing was a bit weird, but I like Tomasi, so I
thought Rook looked really good though.
Rook was cool. Yeah, that whole I thought the whole thing with the dude from Revolutionary War was cool as well. I like that. Like I thought
the red coat.
I thought all of it was pretty solid. Yeah, I'm excited.
It's amazing that quality creators deliver quality books. I mean, who would have thought? Someone should let Marvel and DC know. Like, get that up.
And everyone they keep adding has just been like great. Every time I see a new creator on there, it's like yes.
Perch, are you going to crap all over this?
No, it's a good idea.
You like Ghost Machine #1?
I like Ghost Machine. Look, I've liked what Ghost Machine has put out. I'm happy with those books. Some of them are. I mean, some of the stuff that comes out is smarter than other stuff, but the stuff that's dumber is enjoyable. Again, dumb is fine if you enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think they've got good talent. I think it's good.
But even their worst idea is better than, say, like Distillery's best idea.
Yeah. I mean, like you don't have to come out with an incredibly thoughtful book. You have to come out with an entertaining book. The trap is thinking you have to say something important. You hopefully you do. That's nice, but you can also just be entertaining. Solve that first.
Gabad Sen says, why Ultimate X made you guys instinctively think of Ultimatum not introducing new mutants like Jimmy Hudson, Liz Allen, and Derek Morgan? Because I think
Jimmy Hudson
Jeff Loeb's
sucks. That's
legacy in Ultimate Comics is Ultimatum. It overshadows everything else that he did. Doesn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I mean, when I hear Ultimate X, I think of the Blob biting off, Wasp's head.
Well, Jeff Loeb is forever. I mean, Jeff Loeb did the Batman storyline with Jim Lee, but that Ultimatum book is forever that will be his credit.
I mean, I still think Long Halloween is great.
When I think Jeff Loeb, I don't think Ultimatum first. When I think about him on Ultimate books, I think of that.
Yes.
When I think of him on Batman, I probably think Long Halloween. If I think about him on, maybe an X book, obviously I'm thinking of, what was it, Perch, X-Force?
I like the Spider-Man blue a lot. I like his color.
Yeah.
If I think of him over at Marvel, I'm probably thinking about those books. Yeah.
Because you don't want to think about Ultimatum.
I don't agree.
They don't call Ultimatum the resume stain for nothing. I mean,
I think Ultimatum is his. I'm with Aaron. I think it's his forever. Right now, they could bring Jeff Loeb comes back to the Marvel Universe to restore Spider-Man's marriage and undo One More Day, and people are like, that Ultimatum asshole.
Sad. At the end of the day, shouldn't everybody be judged by their best works?
Exploding Printing. Scout Comics sent out a press release claiming to be funded by new investors, but the investors' website doesn't appear to have been updated in 5 years. The news stories are dead Yahoo links. Are these loan sharks?
I mean, I'm sure it's fine.
Nothing to see here?
Yeah. I mean, this doesn't seem... What's
It was a weird press release.
I'll start talking like my daughter. This seems not sus at all.
Seems too nuts. Okay.
Yeah, it was a company that's never done anything with comic books before. It was even weirder than the Alien Studio Valiant thing.
It's even weirder than who took over Dark Horse. That was another company like that. Right?
Oh, that was a
video game.
Scandinavian company.
Yeah,
it's the one that was buying up all the IPs. Their name escapes me right now, but yeah,
and then
they had to like
Convecture or something.
I had this idea at one point where, this is before I'm legitimately going to do publishing and put books out and actually do it. But I had this idea before that where I would go for several months pretending to be a publisher and just put up dead links and kind of things like this and just see how long it would take before people realized it was fake. I think in comics, I could go on for like 10 years.
It's
I hear they're hiring.
And because you associate with the wrong people. Because you associate with the wrong people, Perch, you would never get any coverage on the big journalism sites within comics.
Oh no, 20 less hits.
You know what I will say this about Scout and their announcement though. At least they didn't accompany it with a video referencing Chumbawamba saying we get knocked down, but we get up again.
The comeback will be better than the setback.
Oh yeah. This is a good episode on Dawson's Creek. Tobby reviews Hail Aaron. Omega Prime got funded, also picked up for free Wade's Daredevil Omnibus. I don't like Wade, but I heard it's one of the good books before he went off.
Dude, Shazam is excellent.
Is it though?
I mean,
is it though?
Well, to me, it is.
Wade's Daredevil is not universally.
Oh, not Daredevil. Yeah. That's garbage.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But you paid the right amount, Tommy, is what I will say about the Daredevil omnibus. If you want to get a good omnibus of Wade, I would say his Captain America stuff before he had Trump derangement syndrome and did the King Baby, Flash, and Fantastic Four that includes Unthinkable.
Sure, yeah. I mean, the Captain America spinning out of Onslaught, that entire business from Wade was good. He's got a lot of good comics out there.
I feel that when he did Cap with Garney just before Rob Liefeld got it, that was the best. Then they tried to bring back the team, and it wasn't as good.
Yeah.
But it was better than what became later.
Perch, who's Daredevil's worse, Mark Wade's or Charles Soule's?
Wade's, I think. Soule's was just dull. It wasn't good, but it was. Cool. I mean, sorry, it wasn't a good book, but it wasn't as terrible as it was. Just very, very boring.
It was along the lines of mediocre Daredevil.
Yeah.
The problem with Daredevil is they ranked it up so horribly with like that Diggle stuff and Shadow whatever that there was nowhere to take it. And how you get back from like killing people and stuff like that. So Wade's run felt refreshing, but it was mostly the art.
Finally, Callum says, the thing is, players wanted Black Cat to come back, but doing another stupid last-minute swap was a clear FU from Sweet Baby Ink Scum.
Lazy people doing lazy people.
Callum cracks me up, I got to admit.
This dude loves Black Cat.
I love Black Cat too, but I mean, I don't give a about the video games.
Did you like Black Cat in Joker Year One?
I don't. Wait, there was a Black Cat in there?
Well, it was Selena, but she looked exactly like Black Cat. She had
I guess that's true. I mean, it's a good costume.
Perch, did you like Joker Year One?
No, not really. It wasn't terrible. But I'm not liking Zdarsky stuff.
Me neither. I didn't think Batman got better this week.
Yeah, failsafe. I don't care about failsafe, and I think it's a dumb idea, and I don't know why he's doing it, and it needs to end.
Failsafe.
Let's think about Joker, Riddler, Scarecrow, Bane, failsafe.
Yeah, Dylan, you're hating it too.
I hate failsafe. I was excited for Zdarsky on Batman when he first got there because I was really enjoying what he did with Daredevil, and then failsafe just so off-putting. And so I read like the first 5 issues or whatever. Then I fell off. Then I came back and decided to catch up. And then he brought failsafe back.
Dude,
I thought he was done with failsafe.
I didn't even bother to catch up. I caught that issue where he was flying back into orbit from space without dying, and I said, "I'm done."
What, the single greatest Batman issue ever?
No.
Jimenez is killing it on there too, which is really sad because he's so good, but the story does not match what he's doing.
Yeah. Isn't it weird that Amanda Waller and Failsafe needs to work with Amanda Waller to defeat the Justice League, even though we've already seen him single-handedly defeat the Justice League?
Yeah.
And the entire Batman family, and defeated Superman in a 1-to-1 fight?
Yeah, checks out.
Gotta get Amanda Waller in there somehow. She's got to be in everything.
Yeah.
She's literally in everything right now. It's getting annoying.
And she's got her own TV show coming up.
She's a government bureaucrat. She's a sleazy government bureaucrat, and she fits very well in that role. But putting her in like the Lex Luthor mastermind kind of role where her fingers are in everything and she's part of every plot, it doesn't work.
She's DC's new Harley Quinn.
Oh God. Don't get me started on Harley Quinn.
No, that Harley Quinn series is really bad. So do you guys want to talk about the good news or the bad news? We got one more topic in this.
Good news.
All right, well, let's talk about Ultimate Spider-Man sales. They did like a little index, and apparently Ultimate Spider-Man actually outsold the final issue of Joker Year One on the second issue 5-3. Like the 100%, or Batman sold at 60% of the sales, at least within Comic Hook, which are actually sales to customers. I thought that was fantastic news to do that on the second issue, Yule.
Yeah. Hickman,
like some staying power.
You got to believe, sometimes. And, I understand people were dissatisfied with Gods, but it really isn't that bad. And we are getting new things in there.
The first issue was $10, and it was not a $10 comic book.
And I keep selling. Well, it's sure. In today's comic books, it definitely is. It definitely is. And not only that, I was pricing up some comic book from yesteryear, and it was a $10 big-ass comic book. I'm like, what? How dare they back then do a $10 comic book? So it can happen. And I think it was worth it. But
I think Gods would still be around if it would have been a $5 comic book.
I've seen him sell. I've seen it when there's a lag in the long story, but then the big thing happens and everybody wants to get caught up. We're going to see that with Spider-Man. So if your store ran out and they're refusing to get fourth prints, tell them to get them because we're going to need them. Of course, there's trades and stuff like that. But man, numbers are going up on Ultimate Spider-Man. I still have some, but not a lot. And it's, Batman, what was it? 3 weeks in a row they were putting that book out?
Yes.
Just cheap maneuvering. It's like when Tom King, they're like, well, yeah, Scott Snyder, he sold upwards of 80 to 100,000 copies of Batman, but that came out once a month. Tom King's selling 50 a piece. It's coming out twice a month. So it's basically the same thing. And it's like, no, it's not basically the same thing at all. If it was Scott Snyder doing it 2 a month, I'd be selling, a lot. And anyway, Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm happy about that.
People are excited. You're able to.
Yeah. People are buying the Black Panther one. People are buying the X-Men one. I had one customer that didn't want the X-Men one because of the way it looked. But it's not all of them.
One customer.
Yeah, it's one customer. Do I get somebody else that wouldn't normally get it? Yeah, totally.
Did you have anyone that you thought was dead, like come back and you're like, I thought you were dead? You're returning for Ultimate Spider-Man?
Yeah, actually, I had customers. They're like, oh, I had to get out of my house finally because I'm interested. How'd you find out about this? But yeah, it's been doing really well. The Transformers is a real good thing also. That's been going on right now. I think we pretty much talked about the Energon universe also.
Yeah, but the sales you said are creeping up.
They're great.
That hasn't happened.
Yeah. Perch, you do all those sale videos, or at least you did. Were there any? I mean, we saw Walking Dead obviously got to higher numbers from where it started.
Yeah. Walking
Spawn
Dead
certainly went up.
I'm assuming
to 300, yes, and then
Spawn.
House of X Powers of 10 did as well. It went up.
Do we? Oh yeah, that one.
That was the one.
Man, that was hot. Oh, that was a good.
It's
time.
rare. It's rare to get that kind of cycle going. And it's been a while now. It's definitely been a minute since we've had it. I think doing assessing now after 2 issues is dangerous. I think we're going to need to look at issue 6. My prediction is it's gonna be a shorter bump. It's not like The Walking Dead had a long sustained climb over like 50 issues where it just kept growing. I don't think we're going to see that here for a lot of variety of reasons. Probably the biggest one is Marvel wouldn't be patient enough to let that happen. They would immediately like, hey, let's cancel this, make 3 issues out of it, and spawn a bunch of tie-ins. Like, who wants to see a Norman Osborn comic in the Ultimate Universe? And that will screw it all up. But it's a good sign. You'd love to see it.
It's good to be excited. I like being excited about stuff. I love the House of X Powers of 10 era at Perch. I could make 3 videos a week about how amazing X-Men comic books were.
It was great to feel good about that stuff. And
Yes.
I think, you and I mean, a lot of us, when we talk about this stuff and it's like, oh, they're too negative, they're complaining about comics. That's not the state we want to be in. That's like, I would far rather be super pumped about this stuff. And there's a million ways you can do it. You don't have to do it one particular way. I would never have, I know talking with you, neither of us would have asked for what Hickman did with House of X Powers of 10 and that kind of story, but it worked and it was fun to read and it was exciting. So do something new, but just you got to stick the landing or at least fall remotely close to the target.
Do you think having Peter married to MJ with kids is part of the reason that it's successful, or do you think it's just because it's a good book?
I think it's because it's a good book. I think Peter being married to MJ is a draw. People are like, oh, okay, that's why they pick it up and look at it. But then it's written well. There's some mystery in there. It's interesting.
The art is amazing.
Yeah, and you look at the comments now. Nobody's really going all in on like, man, I hope they just have lots of scenes of Peter porking MJ in there. No, like that's not the commentary you get. You get people talking about the story. So they're going to pick it up for the marriage, but they're going to keep going because the story is compelling and there's mystery.
We're going to get an Ultimate Spider-Man annual. It's just them banging the whole time.
I mean,
only if Eric Larson does it.
Yeah, got to get a good artist on that one.
Have you jumped on the Ultimate Spider-Man bandwagon yet, Dylan?
Yeah, I've read both issues. It's really good. It's
fantastic.
Yeah, it seemed like the easiest issue in the world to solve for Marvel, which is like everyone's telling you what they want from Spider-Man, and then this book gives it to you. It's one of those where it's like maybe you don't need to subvert expectations all the time. You don't just need to bring in some random guy named Paul and have him cuck the hero of the book, It's like this is what everyone's been asking for a while, and they deliver it, and who would have thought it sells well?
And I know you've been a Chichetto fan basically from day one.
Yeah, for a while now. He's done an amazing job on this. He's so good. I loved him on Old Man Hawkeye. He was so good on Old Man Hawkeye.
I was going to say, just think if you can get like 12 issues, just 12 issues of solid, consistent, tight storytelling with great art. And then they're going to be able to take this into a trade graphic novel, whatever. And it's going to be one of those evergreen titles that just stays there. And if that doesn't tell Marvel, hey, this is what you need to be doing, then I don't know what will.
There's too many excuses that come up. It's exactly what they do need to do. And it's financially better for them if they do that. But you get into this like, well, the artist doesn't want to commit to that many issues. And well, the writer, like they're probably busy. So they talk themselves out of a sure bet. But just if you think about whatever you have to do, get 12 issues monthly, go give the writer and the artist 2 months of a break, do another 12 issues. If you could get 2 books like that out there, you could sell multiple trades. You could carve that into 4. You could sell then the hardcover. You could sell the omnibus. Just all the reprints you all talked about. That's just money that prints for the next 15 years. And the problem with Marvel is they do not have a lot of stuff like that. They had a lot in the 80s and 90s, and they're still kind of milking some of that. But in the last 15 years, they really have not gotten a lot of volumes that they could put out beyond sort of the events. But we were talking before we came on the air. Civil War did great. Secret Invasion did great. There have not been killer events since then that really moved trades like this.
I guess House of M was pretty good for us back in the day too.
That fell right
just
before.
Trying to think of something.
Yeah. And House of X Powers of 10, they're able to milk that, but none of what followed after it. Those trades are just dying on Amazon at the moment.
Well, they just cut that goose up so fast, let's get all the eggs.
Do you think people would walk away from Ultimate Spider-Man if Paul shows up?
Depends what they did with him. Depends what they did with him. They had
Isn't that the university?
Now he's MJ's new boss.
You're not looking forward to the ultimate Paul spinoff by Zeb Wells?
That is the worst character, the worst thing Zeb Wells has done, isn't it?
Is he worse than any of the supporting cast that Dan Slott introduced to Iron Man? Like who was the guy that Tony's mom was banging that we were supposed to be super interested in and no one cared?
Yeah. Yeah, that was terrible.
See, you don't even remember, Wes. You can't even recall because it was so inconsequential. But Dan Slott thought he was super interesting and thought that everybody really wanted to read stories about him.
Well, look, Christos Gage was busy, and he I mean, you can't
have time to fix it.
It's exhausting being that guy, delivering all that food.
Yeah, being the Iron Man. He tried to make an Iron Man family book. That was weird.
There are tweets to be caught up on. He doesn't have time to like invest in his scripts.
All right, Perch. I know that you've gotten some ideas of what this Ultimate Spider-Man is going to be. Is everyone right that they're just going to kill off MJ within the first 6 issues?
I don't believe so.
Oh, there you go. Maybe they're not going to do it to us.
We'll see. I think that's people just waiting for the hurt, right?
For them to marvel
yeah,
them?
It's the abused spouse just waiting for the next moment. It's,
Some people would say it would be like, maybe like doing that Spider-Man trope, but it doesn't have to be MJ, right? Some people thought the kids, right?
Yeah, let's kill off the babies. The one that inspired him to do the blue and red costume. That was a great moment.
Well, we workshopped it, and we feel that people really like Peter and MJ together.
They don't really like the kids.
Get those kids out of there.
What's the boy's name? Maybe we can get rid of him. Inspire her.
Yeah, he's the spare. You could dump him. Yeah.
Definitely one of them.
So this is good news, though, Perch. I mean, at least there are a couple of things that are very, very hot. Energon's obviously hot. Ultimate Spider-Man is sounds like it's trickling over to Black Panther and X-Men. Is this long-term and sustainable? Do you think these are going to last for like 2 or 3 years?
I don't. I mean, I think we'll get a solid year out of it. And then I think if the sales continue like this, I mean, the absolute threat is the sales being strong like this, the attention being strong like this means Marvel's going to want to clone it and spawn it and multiply it. And that is the moment it goes to hell. And so I think right now, somewhere in the Marvel office are like, wow, really surprised by these numbers. All right, what 3 others can we do? And then that's where like Kelly Thompson, like a horrible disease,
can't
like
write
shows
well
up on the door.
Ultimate Paste Pot Pete.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just these people come out of the woodwork, and it's like, all right, what Matt Rosenberg isn't doing anything right now. Like, let's.
Oh God, there's a reason. There's a reason he's not doing anything right now. Don't get.
So they got to do an Ultimate Wolverine though, right? That's got to be Hickman's next book, right? Because he's doing another Ultimate book.
Chris Cantwell's Ultimate Wolverine. Yeah.
Oh, come on! No, come on. We're trying to be positive here.
It's gonna happen, Wes. You know it's gonna happen.
I'm already getting dragged down already. This 8th issue.
They're gonna black label this.
Call it Kelly and Jackson.
They black labeled Black Label on the first Black Label comic book. Okay? They didn't do that in the Ultimates. All right.
I want to.
It's not a comparison. It's not fair.
Quick, Robin, to the bat pole.
I hope for positivity. I am expecting garbage.
Well, they're already doing it with the Ultimates. I don't know who that Dennis guy is, but I have to say Dennis, and he has a Z in his name. Give me a break.
As far as new Marvel writers go that they've used in the last 2 years, he's probably the one that has the potential to be a good one.
I don't believe you.
Dennis Camp, yeah. He did a really cool Bloodshot series. Unfortunately, it was at Valiant, and they were producing it once every quarter or whatever. But he legitimately appears to potentially have talent.
All right.
At least that's my take on it. What's your take on Dennis Camp, Perch?
I don't care.
Is he the next David Pepos?
He's
sure.
The next Joss Whedon.
Is he Jackson Lanzing and Colin Kelly Light?
Why does Kelly and Lansing get any work at all? I mean,
that is the biggest question.
Why
they're friendly. Well, at least Jackson is. I don't know Colin.
They are friendly. That is true. So sorry, they are very friendly people, and it's unfair. But they keep. And I'd be curious if you gave them one book and then just no more, and just can you exceed in one book? But
no,
if you look, like they've got like 4 books simultaneously rolling at the same time, and there's like I don't know what's going on with any of this.
I mean, before before people were recognizing their names and we were covering them at DC, they were kind of known as like the title killers. They would come into a book and that book would die, and they only had one book at a time. No, they're awful.
Yeah. I don't want more. They're very
Outsiders.
Nice, perfectly nice people.
Fuck no.
That book's not good.
It's awful.
Yes.
We're doing a read-through of Planetary. It's not as good.
You need strong editors. You need editors who tell them these ideas are dumb. Focus on this. Let's get rid of this dialogue. But unfortunately, I don't think that. Number one, I don't think the big two have good editors, and number two, even if they did, I don't think that they have the time to really go through the scripts and work with people. I think that there's just so much coming out that they've just got to, keep the sewage pipeline going.
Yeah,
pretty much.
When they hit the ultimate line, I know it's over. You know what I'm saying? Ultimate
Hey,
Squirrel
Wes,
Girl.
can I ask you a question? What was the negative topic that you were going to bring up? Because I didn't get the list of topics for the show.
I didn't send that to you? Oh, it's just going to be the watering down of the Energon universe with the Kelly Thompson. It's like, well, maybe this isn't going to be hot forever.
Yeah, we kind of did
that.
Well, I have a take on that. I'm going to believe that Kirkman's going to, he's shepherding these.
Provide oversight?
Right. Right now, that's what it looks like. Daniel Warren Johnson, you could pretty much do whatever you want. But usually, if you enjoy Kirkman's books, they have a significant quality to them that you'd expect, and these are not unlike those. And I feel that there's a chance that the Kelly Thompson's not going to suck, that the Dan Waters isn't going to suck, and if the art's good, we're going to be very happy with it also. But it does feel like a downgrade when you're going from Josh Williamson to these people. When you're going from Daniel Warren Johnson to anybody, it's questionable.
My fear is that Ben Abernathy, who left the Batman group editor job to go and work at Skybound, I imagine he's not taking a demotion and he's leaving Batman in the behind. So it's clearly a big position. I imagine he's the guy that's in charge of all this Energon stuff. And he is the editor, at least the editor within the credits of the last Birds of Prey comic book from Kelly Thompson. And guess what? You've got chatty Kathy fucking Orphan in there just talking the entire time. She doesn't get any of these characters, and it appears as he being the editor didn't care either.
If you screw up for Robert Kirkman, he's not going to keep you around. I just have a feeling that you're going to get these people's best. That's what I have a feeling. He'll get you fired. He'll fire you, and he's way more hands-on than I think, like Jim Lee is.
Well, that's not hard.
I guess that's not hard, but
he's more hands-on.
When we get the major people involved not doing much, I think, there's a chance.
And the other thing that upsets me is that Kelly Thompson is apparently going to be using Scarlet to infiltrate the Arashikage clan, and that's like, Snake Eyes in Storm Shadow, which I'm surprised these two miniseries aren't just those characters anyway. And it's like, I don't want to introduce in that stuff. Mm-hmm. That's like the coolest shit in the G.I. Joe universe that I like the most.
I hear you. But it's also maybe like some of the stuff you can screw up the least.
Maybe they
gave her watch the Snake Eyes movie. It turns out you can screw it up a lot. You can make it awful.
Well, I didn't see
just need to bring in Sweet Baby to help with your story.
Sweet Baby.
I don't. When you go to Hollywood to do something from comic books, people feel like you're. Oh, I'm elevating my art form when I'm watching a movie, but we know that's not true.
Dylan, did you see the Snake Eyes movie?
Yes, sadly. I knew it was going to be bad, but I was like, maybe there'll at least be cool action. There wasn't even that. There's just a big CGI snake. Snake Eyes didn't get his mask until the final second of the movie, and then he drove off. He never shut up the entire time. He was a horrible character. You weren't rooting for Snake Eyes through 1 second of the movie. That really, because I was like, if they just adapt Snake Eyes to Classified, that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need for the movie.
Just put him on a mission. Just do some Bourne stuff or whatever I imagine those movies are.
It's
the same thing. Be lazy. Just do it. Just be lazy. Just tell a simple story.
Cookie cutters. Sometimes, yeah, exactly, man. Sometimes that's all you need to do. Like, don't do
Hollywood's
more.
obsession with, like, you can't have a character that wears a mask. You have to show their face. You have to. Every single character. All these characters that have worked for decades that don't show their face, that was just a fluke. You can't do that on screen. They
started with the
constantly show their
Tim Burton Batman, man.
Dude,
Adam West
the worst.
Batman never showed his face, you know?
Yeah. And they're doing it. They did it with Snake Eyes, doing
Sylvester
Master
Stallone.
Chief right now. I don't know if there's any Halo fans in the chat, but that is sad what's going on with Master Chief. It sucks.
Sure.
They even messed up Hard Master and Soft Master. How do you mess those characters up?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. They messed up everything with that movie.
Well, the
That
answer
movie
is
was truly
you hand it to
despicable.
Hollywood writers, a room full of Hollywood writers, which is basically like handing it to Sweet Baby Inc. right now. You know, it's everybody's got their check boxes that they have to hit.
All right, so
the status thing was seeing the Larry Hama stuff where he was like, I approve this. This is good.
I am not at all being held hostage.
Yeah, he was just like, I like what they're doing with the Snake Eyes movie. It's true to my source material. It's like, oh.
The way the movie worked was because when you think of Snake Eyes, and I think we all do think of him, we think of all the classic dialogue that he's had over the years. So, you know, when you see the movie and you're like, oh, he's talking a lot, you know, that's just pure distilled Snake Eyes right there. They really got the character.
Yeah.
It's a better Storm Shadow movie.
Yeah, sadly. And they took away one of the big aspects of his character by making him Asian because he's not as much of an outcast when he goes there. Instead of just being like a blonde white American. So
only Asians know martial arts, Dylan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the whole man, that Iron Fist controversy is hilarious. Like, what white people don't know kung fu? That he's got to be Asian.
Snake Eyes definitely got iron fisted in that movie.
Yeah, 100%.
Iron fisted.
So you haven't seen the Snake Eyes movie, Yul?
Well, no, I don't see that. No,
that's bullshit, man. We've all had to suffer through this.
Yeah, you should watch it.
I watched that one movie you guys said was so bad, Thor 3, or 4 or whatever.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
That's the one. I did my penance already.
I'm sorry.
What's worse, Sweet Baby or Kelly Thompson?
Sweet
Baby.
Sweet Baby.
Yeah.
No, because she's lost. She's lost companies, or Sweet Baby's lost companies more money than Kelly Thompson ever could.
Wow.
But she's more annoying.
Well,
yes.
There you go. We'll see what happens.
It probably makes as many enemies lists, right, Perch?
Oh, she's not liked. That is true.
We'll see what happens. We do have a few people chiming in. Callum says Sweet Baby Inc. is now mocking Toriyama's death.
No,
fucking villains.
Oh my god.
I cannot believe that at all.
I need to see.
No,
I need
not entirely wrong.
I can't believe.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
They really are mocking.
I mean, just like it. No, it's in the vein of like, oh, you care about this, but not this. It's more just brushing it aside. Yeah.
I thought it was like, the Sex Pistols, like when they were trying out for the band. I think like Johnny Rotten had like "Fuck Pink Floyd" or something like that T-shirt.
Yeah.
Like everybody loved Pink Floyd at the time, so it's like, yeah, fuck Toriyama. Do not clip that.
I thought it was going to be a Randy Orton, Eddie Guerrero situation with Chavo.
Ooh, I love that.
Or that was Mysterio that he did that too.
Yeah.
That was the wrong kind of heat.
That's
Eddie's
right.
in hell.
Sorry, just do it.
Weird.
Point that Eddie would have wanted it that way.
Jero says, any thoughts on the passing of Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama? If you haven't read Dragon Ball, why you guys subject yourselves to so many terrible comments? Give yourself a treat.
I don't read bad comics, I'll have you know.
Yeah, we had talked about that at the beginning. I mean, definitely a loss. But look at the full scope of work from Toriyama-san. Lots of good stuff.
Are we subjecting ourselves to bad comic books when we could be enjoying Dragon Ball? Is that what we're seeing, Perch?
That's why I read One Piece regularly.
Well, Lane Kramer will have you do that. So.
Look, we've been talking on Twitter. I mean, I've read and collected and owned every X-Men comic, and there's a lot of lousy ones out there. And I'm posting photos because as much as we're kind of crapping on it now, the stories are truly awful now. There's stuff in the 90s and the 2000s. Like you see some of these limited series, you're like, what was this? We've memory holed so many terrible, terrible X books. But you read all this stuff. That's why we show up. We're reading comics because we're fans of comics. So we read them, and there's some terrible comics, but we're going to read them anyway because we care about these characters. So you do it, and then you're pissed about it. But then next month you're doing it again, which makes maybe all of us a little crazy or dumb, whatever. But we love these comics. We're going to read them. That's how it goes.
It's going to turn around.
The event where Chris Claremont brought Thunderbird back.
Was that him?
Wasn't it him?
I thought that was the one with the wrestler, the AEW wrestler.
No. This is a while back. This was a part of an event where he did a 3-issue miniseries, and I did think at the time that was the worst thing X-Men related I would ever read, and I felt bad that it was Claremont.
Yeah,
you didn't read X-Men the End, did you?
I did not. I read Hulk the End. That's pretty good.
No, X-Men.
What's the worst X-Men story you've ever read, Perch?
The worst?
Yeah.
What I'm reading right now. This Gerry Duggan run is the worst. It is this no, not just this one. The last several. This is a terrible run. Previous, I think my Chuck Austin run was up there. Your some of these mini series, like they throw Wolverine, just some random person together for no apparent reason, like Wolverine and the Beast are fighting MODOK for some reason, and there's some really shitty stuff in there. But I mean, Chuck Austin, somebody in the chat was saying, oh, that's a funny joke about Angel's blood. No, that was a plot point where Angel's blood cured AIDS. That was in the comic. That was real.
Yep, that happened.
I made a mistake. John Proudstar Chaos War. Miniseries. Awful.
Yeah, that was Chaos War. They brought a bunch of characters back and promptly forgot about it, and then resurrected some later, forgetting that they did that. Yeah, that was terrible.
Didn't they resurrect a bunch of Necrosha as well?
Yeah, but they were zombies, so they just, they were getting murdered. I'd read Necrosha just like a week ago again, and I mean, again, not a great comic, but miles better than this. I mean,
do you have any suggestions besides Dragon Ball if people want to appreciate Toriyama and what he's done?
No, do Dragon Ball because that's what everybody's known. But there's a bunch of things that branch out. So start there. Look that. Look, I mean, a lot of people struggle with manga for the art style of who are, often the people in the chat or people on my channel at least are like, well, I just can't get over the art style. But there is a lot more variety to art, and Toriyama-san has done a lot of different types of art in different areas. So I mean, just check some of the different work.
Doc says he can't do it because he doesn't like the names.
Well,
like the Japanese names?
There's normal names.
That Duggan work is waiting for him.
Too hard. There you go.
Yeah.
But, he's cranky. He's definitely not going to like Ultimate X-Men. Let's put it that way. Mr. DC Comics. It's interesting how Spider-Man has a family in Ultimate, and they shut down Spider-Man family in action and Superman's family in Action Comics. Batman is down because the story is too big or too long. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, Nightfall was a story that lasted a couple years, right?
Yeah, but it had intrigue.
Yeah, but I think it sucks because it's bad.
Yeah.
Correct.
I can take a 3 or 4 year story if it's good.
Yep.
But it's got
That's why Ram V's story is so bad in Detective. It's the same book or the same story that he's telling, but it's been 2 years now, I think.
When I was young and I was reading Batman, it was like the Doug Moenk and Gene Colan and other people working on the book. Stuff I would look at now and go, oh, this is some classic Batman. You can pick it up, you can read it, and it was one story, and that was it. Oh, it's got Mr. Freeze. Not every Joker, every issue. They didn't have the Joker in every issue. Sometimes it was just normal dudes he was going up against. Oh, Batman's working too late, and he's falling asleep on the job. That type of story. I really thought those were very boring growing up. Now we get long, protracted 4 and 50 issue, year or issue stories, and I find these to be very boring. And there's no happy medium.
Al Ewing is telling the same story in Venom that he started when he took over the series 2.5 years ago.
That's never going to be something I'm going to read then.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm probably not going to read it anyway, but 3 years of Venom, I have to read all this? No.
leading up to Venom War, where Dylan and Eddie fight each other.
And they're bad.
They're terrible.
Well, it's also the point, like, nothing is happening, right? That seems to be the problem. That's why it's boring. Nothing is happening. Look at Nightwing. Hush is still on the loose. Nothing, or not Hush, but whatever his name is. Heartless, like, nothing is happening. And if you look at Nightfall, yeah, it's a 3-year run, but a lot of shit happens. Like, a lot of shit happens. True. And even starting off, it still had that single issue feel. Like, you had an issue, there was a villain there. You had the next issue, there's a different villain there. The next issue, there's a different villain there. It's because, you know, the asylum was pretty much broken loose. And then towards, you know, the end, you start finding out, well, not the end, but the first, you know, omnibus. That's when you find out Bane's been behind everything. And it's like, oh, there's a thread here. And
yeah, when we when Sylvania and I did Darkwing, that's what we tried to do with that, because we were promised a 3-year run, which we didn't get. But, you know, each issue or each little arc was like a self-contained thing, and then there was just a thread that was going to run through like the first 2 years of the book that would get resolved in like the 24th issue. You know, there was a mystery that we were setting up, but everything was going to have a payoff. But along the way, you have like individual stories that you can buy, and it was actually designed so that you could pull the extra pages out and just present a single story, you know, if you wanted to reprint it somewhere and not have all the extra continuity in there.
Callum says, yes, they are Perch. They are mocking Toriyama. It's that Chris Kindred guy that is locked his account.
Yeah, there's a couple. So there's a couple things. I looked up the tweets. There's kind of one big one and then a bunch of other little things. So the big one is, he said, Toriyama gave us the best and worst black characters in anime in the same series. It took range to do that. And that was kind of hours after, which is a dick thing to say when you're, you know, somebody's just passed. It's just not respectful. But then since then, there's been additional tweets that are around, you know, like, oh, so you guys care about this, you care about diversity now. Oh, that's funny, kind of stuff. And so you're just watching just children be assholes to each other. That's what's going on.
It's all these kids. They grew up on online gaming where they talk crap to each other, and that's how they communicated at all times.
Yeah. No,
the difference is, Chris Kindred, is that Toriyama created characters, and you and the hacks at Sweet Baby Inc. create caricatures. So that's the difference, is that there's actually characters in Toriyama's work that people connect to, whereas you guys are just putting up a bunch of, you know, basically just a bunch of straw men that you're manipulating around that are just skin suits stuffed with a message. So go F yourself.
Well, and there's jealousy here as well, clearly. I mean, it's, you know, and then that's the problem with a lot of this stuff, is there's people who are hacks who do not have talent. Like I tell my kids at some time, you know, figure out what you're good at, because you're not going to be good at everything. And when you're not good at something, you can't be kind of miserable and jealous because somebody is better than you. And a lot of these people just did not have parents, apparently. So like this is grown up with this. And so you see these kinds of things where they want to mock and tear down people who are successful and good at what they do. And it's
that's why everyone attacks you, Perch.
No, they attack me because I'm shitty at bad audio and terrible rambling takes.
I love that, though. That's why I love you.
There you go. Yeah.
I like a good car video.
Yeah, who doesn't like
There's
a car
only
video?
So many people that can pull off that kind of audio, Perch, and still have an audience.
What cracks me up, I talked to kind of a variety of people, and they're talking about, yeah, you know, I do the editing here and the editing there, and I'm like, oh, no edits. Just you will hear a video at some point of me like getting pulled over by the police and like going through that whole process. I'll just keep the recording going.
Cops like, hey, are you Perch?
Yeah, exactly.
Very nice. Well, let's talk about some comic book recommendations, because we have come to the end of our journey. We actually got through 3 topics, which I think was very, very good. Dylan, over at The Real Comic Book Gamer, is there anything that people should know about, whether it be on Twitch, YouTube, or even your podcast?
Yeah, podcast comes out generally weekly when there's stuff to talk about. We just talked about Shogun, which is really good. You should watch Shogun on FX if you're not watching that. And Dune 2. And then on the channel, I recently revisited Attack of the Clones. So that was fun because I hadn't watched that in a long time.
I thought that was the worst Star Wars movie you could ever have.
Until Disney. Yeah, everyone did. Everyone was like, there's no way it gets worse than this. And then the Disney movie comes out. And it got much worse. That's what's interesting about going back and rewatching. It's like, oh, you can appreciate some things, some swings that Lucas took that the Disney movies won't take.
If you watch that movie on DVD, and every time Padme and Anakin are in a scene together, you just hit next chapter. The movie is actually quite watchable, obviously, until you get to the end with the action part where you have to just stay there. But their chemistry absolutely ruins everything.
Oh yeah, it's non-existent. It's such a whiplash because the Obi-Wan detective plot, figuring out the clones, is legitimately interesting, and then you cut to the worst romance plot ever. And going back and forth between those two.
My heart is like sand.
It's really rough. It's really rough. But it's
gotta get moist.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about, and it's hilarious sounding.
You should watch it.
Yeah, you should
No,
definitely
I think that you can watch the loves or the romance scenes because it's so ridiculous. It's just scenes of Padme wearing less and less clothing while telling Anakin, "We can't."
No.
but she's basically never. And by the end, she's in like a leather halter top, sitting in front of a fire. It's like the most romantic setting ever, and she's practically got her legs up in stirrups with a guy from the airport directing Anakin in while she protests.
She tells us why would you want to be with me? Your whole life will be ruined. Yeah, and she's wearing this tight leather corset or whatever it is. It's a very funny scene. 5 minutes before that, they were eating a CGI pear. So
yes,
with a knife and fork. So. Yeah, it's an interesting movie.
You recommend any comic books this week?
I got 2 comics. I got Kneel Before Zod #3. I've been enjoying what Joe Casey's been doing there. It's fun. It's action-packed.
Everybody got so mad at me for recommending the second issue because they said it should have been Kneel Before Ursa. I was like, you're taking the guy down a peg so he can overcome it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yet, what if you think it's Kneel for Ursa? Read this latest issue. It's definitely not. It's definitely not. Kneel for Zod #3.
They fried me.
I don't understand why. The first 3 issues have all been solid. Joe Casey's doing a really good job. I'm enjoying it. The action's really great. There's a lot of action every issue. It's fun. Zod's exactly what you want him to be. I'm liking it. And then the only other book I'd recommend that I read this week was the Batman First Night issue #1. It didn't blow my socks off or anything, but I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to see what Dan Jurgens does with it. It's the 1939 Batman. Dan Jurgens is writing it, and we're seeing what he's doing. There's no Alfred right now. It's just Bruce and Gordon, and it's interesting. The first issue was interesting. So
and the rabbi.
Optimistic. Yeah, the rabbi. That speech he gave randomly when he saves Batman, he just starts talking about World War II. And it's like, why are we not talking about the 2 dudes that just tried to murder Batman? That part was really weird. But aside from that, I enjoyed the issue.
Perch, Cobbett Sense says, you once said in a past video that there are woke mangas, but you didn't give examples. What are mangas that you consider woke?
No, not. I don't think I said there were woke manga. I said manga has a lot of different. It just has a lot of different genres, and it just depends on how you define woke. Are there mangas that have LGBTQ themes? Sure, there's tons. There's an entire BL genre for this. There's slice of life stuff. So I mean, it kind of how you define.
It's very segmented and compartmentalized.
Sure. I mean, the part that I think manga does better is that you know what you're in for. Manga doesn't do a lot of the subverting expectation stuff. You pick up the book, it's more or less you see it, and that's what you're going to get, and so you know what you're in for. And I think they do that well. But there's different things.
Volleyball manga is about volleyball.
Yeah, I mean, Dick Fight Island is about dick fighting. That's what it is. It's literally about that. I love.
If there is not a manga called Dick Fight Island, I'm going to be really disappointed.
Oh no, there is.
I want to buy it so bad.
I did an entire video review on Dick Fight Island, and it is about an island, and people go there for a tournament where they fight with their dicks. That's what the manga is.
New level of cockfighting, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing. But I got roasted for that. Like, why are you promoting?
How do you think you do it, that Perch?
What's that?
You're on?
Would you win the tournament?
Island? Are you just
win the
serving
Kumite
drinks?
on Dick Fight Island?
I would always win that tournament. But no, there's stuff there. I love Rumiko Takahashi as a creator. I think she's incredible, super rich and very successful. You look at Mason Akoko and you look at Ranma and some of those series, and it's like, yeah, there's definitely slice of life type stuff. So if you're not into that, and you don't want that, don't buy it. But you can't pick up this book and it's like, oh, there's a woman with an apron and a guy on it. Like you know what you're going to get. If you bought that and you read it, and you're like, now I've been fooled. You're the moron at that point.
Those are super gender bendy too, right?
Sometimes.
Not Mace on a Cuckoo, but
Ranma. Yeah, I mean Ranma. The story is there's a kid and he's a teenager and he's promised to marry somebody and he falls in a cursed water that transforms you into something. When you get cold water on you, he transforms into a girl. And the joke is that all the men are like, wow, she's super hot. And he's like, I don't want to be a girl. But so he always has to pour hot water on himself to turn back into a boy, and shenanigans ensue. That's the story, and whatever.
Is that your comic book recommendation this week?
Ranma was great. No, I look, Zod is a great book, and nobody should be giving you crap for that. Look, if there's a woman in the book, can you you got to read it a little bit more before you throw a judgment on it. No finger pointing, but come on, that's a great book. Casey's a great creator. We talked about the Ultimate stuff. There's a few books out here, but I'm looking forward to the End of the X stuff for sure. I liked Avengers Twilight. I still am enjoying that.
People didn't like me about that one either. I thought the third issue was fine. I thought it was good.
It's an enjoyable series.
I heard
it's fine.
Up. Also,
I thought the first issue was not good. The second issue was kind of mid, and then the third issue really picked it up and got it focused.
Yeah, I think the third issue got a lot of action. I think it was a fun book, so I enjoyed it. And to people in the chat, no, I am not bald like David Finch. I don't know what most of this chat saw me before we went on the air. So I mean, no, there's a head of hair here.
He doesn't even have eyebrows, like Wes,
right? I look like Wes's haircut right now.
Yeah, Perch has a fine
We look like twins, basically. Yes.
Yeah. I don't have facial hair at the moment.
That's weird. Yeah.
Because you're a corporate man.
That's right.
So you're recommending Kneel Before Zod as well as Avengers Twilight?
I like Avengers Twilight. And I mean, you should check out Ranma. It is hilarious as a series. That is a funny ass book because there's lots of little cursed pools. So the dad turns into a panda, another girl turns into a cat. I mean, it rains and everybody's all fucked up. It's a bizarre book, but it's very fun.
Do you like Superman versus Meatballs?
No, I don't. I don't need that.
Superman Meshi, I think it's called.
But go get some. Oh, no, that's funny. I mean, it's dumb, but that's like Superman eating food. That's very Japanese. But otherwise, go read some Dragon Ball in honor of Toriyama-san.
Very nice. Do you have any interviews or anything people need to know about?
Well, I'm going to be taking a break for, you won't notice it, but because I have about 160 videos now lined up. So I'm going to take about a month or two off, and I'm going to do interviews during that time. So it'll be a good time.
If you want to interview me, I'm available.
I'm definitely going to interview you. No, I was just finishing an upload, and it's slated for August 16th.
That is absolutely insane.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
nope.
I don't need...
That's how we do it here.
That's not.
This
fair.
guy's going to be dead, and he's going to have 2 years of material.
That is correct.
Heidi McDonald's going to be proven right.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen to me any day now. But listen, I actually have to go jump on a plane, so I'm probably going to bid farewell to all of you and nice people in the chat. And
thanks for joining
always
us, brother.
get business
really appreciate it.
first.
Great to be here. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Always
Perch.
good to have you, Perch.
See you.
Federico says Perch is right. Takahashi is a legend here. In Italy, we praise her manga since the early 80s, but in the book, women in comics never mentioned.
Hey, I did not jump off because I saw this. Absolutely fucking right. And this is the biggest bullshit because Takahashi is massively successful. Kept a lot of money. Number one, has sold far more than tons and tons of things. Like Rumiko Takahashi.
What was she the richest woman in Japan? Was it the world?
Correct.
I don't know. There was something like that.
No, in Japan, but yeah, definitely in the top. Super, super wealthy, but great work. Has done a lot of different things. Did very classic kind of samurai tale. Did the comedy of Ranma. Did Slice of Life with Mason. Did all kinds of different books. So you should check out Rumiko Takahashi. Absolute legend and complete bullshit that in the U.S. they talk about legendary comic creators and magically they always forget her. So there you go. Now I'm leaving, but I'm there. Federico, you're dead right.
Very nice. Next up. Who we got? Are you recommending comic books? You own a shop.
Totally.
You probably write a couple.
Yeah, and I'm also a really big Joe Casey fan, so I'm going to recommend Kneel Before Zod. Think of this as the end of the first act of whatever's going on. Supposedly, he's at least got a year's worth of comic books.
Yeah, it's supposed to go 12
so we'll see how
it's.
You got to buy this. It's Ursa rips a dude's head off and chucks it at other cons. It's awesome. And at first I was like, I don't know, Dan McDade, his art's okay. I saw him on this one. If you find this, I'm Already Dead.
That's
by
a
Matt
good one.
Kent. Holy
That's
cow.
a great book.
And it opened my eyes to his artwork. And I read Kneel Before Zod too. And the last 3 pages are expertly done. The last 3 pages here are expertly done. This whole book, I love Matt Kent. He had Subgenre come out this week. I know it's magazine style. A magazine I don't have that you have to know about is Last Mermaid by Derek Kirk Kim. The art is phenomenal, and the story, it could be something special. So we'll see. And the
Last Mermaid, who made that book?
Image.
Oh, I did not see it. I had my review copies, and I did not notice it.
Derek Kirk Kim. He's a Bay Area guy. He's friends with a bunch of important people that most people don't know. Next week.
It's
Monster
next week.
Fan...
Okay.
No, this book, Monster Fan Club #2 comes out. But yeah. They might have it wrong on the list.
Next week is The Last Mermaid #1. That's why I haven't seen it, because it wasn't in their bundle of review copies.
No, it came out this week.
No, it comes out on the 13th, according to Image's website.
Well, I don't know what's on my shelf, but don't get me in trouble.
I didn't mean to, man. Yes, it came out this week. We'll be looking at The Last Mermaid. But I will definitely check it out if you're saying it could be something special. That means something for me.
It's more visual than anything. I think you could probably read this with the kids. I
am more of a writer-driven reader than I am an art-driven reader.
There's going to be more. I just know it. I just have this feeling. But no, it's really, really, really good book. I liked it a lot.
Very nice.
Buy it.
Sparrow, you recommending comics?
No
X-Men 32.
No, I didn't read anything this week, so I got no comics to recommend.
Or you recommend Cobra Commander? Did you recommend? Did you like any of the new Energon stuff lately?
I'm enjoying Cobra Commander. I think that's been great.
Did you like Duke 3?
I liked Duke 3. I think that all of that's been good. If I have to make any recommendations this week, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to recommend that you check out Unholy Nightmare by Drew. That campaign is you can still jump in on that. We're done with all of the editing and all of the everything that we need to do on the first issue, just waiting for the art to catch up. So that's been great. And if you guys follow me on Twitter right now, we're getting really close to launching Brotherhood of the Wolf by Wes Azadani. And the artist on Unholy Nightmare, Aurelio Mazzara. I hope I'm saying that with the proper the proper intonation. But both of those books are really, really good, and you guys are gonna dig them. It's balls to the wall action. It's a lot of blood and gore. It's all the good stuff that you love comics for. So definitely check those things out.
Very nice.
I'll be
Last but
promoting the
not
hell
least, Josh, do you have any recommendations? Did you get to comic books this week?
Yeah, I did. So I'm gonna echo Dylan and say go ahead and pick up the Batman First Night. Is it breaking any new ground? Not necessarily. Like the timeline it's set in is interesting, but the art, man, I think the art is freaking fantastic. It's got a European feel to it. You've actually got an artist that's drawing background, so it looks like you're in a real place instead of like, oh, here's 3 lines showing 4 walls and a floor and a splash of paint.
Gotham looks sick.
Yeah, Gotham, it looks like, it's good. It's good. Art wise, it's really good. Story wise, it's solid, competent writing. We'll see where it goes. And I'll even say Ultimate X-Men, it wasn't bad. I do kind of hate that it's got the X-Men title on it because it doesn't feel like an X-Men book right now, but it's interesting enough. And I'm not the biggest Peach Momoko fan. So
what's wrong with you?
It's just not my style.
Hate life? Is that what it is? You just hate life.
Here's the thing. I'm blatantly saying that is not my art style, but I enjoyed the book enough to say, hey, it's worth checking out. They could do there's plenty of room to take this story and do some really cool, interesting things with it.
It's interesting. I mean, sometimes all you need is something different. And, I'm happy to read different things, really. So right. I liked it a lot more than interesting, but it's kind of the only description I have for it.
Yeah. I also picked up The Last Ronin. Haven't read it yet. We'll see how this volume 2 with the new characters is. We'll see.
It's all right.
And then
it's not great, but it's perfectly good. I mean, the art's really good.
And I've got a book, an indie book that I need to catch up on called Pine and Merrimack that has looked intriguing. I just need to sit down and read. We're on issue 3 this month, but I need to just catch up and see if it's worth it.
But it's only a 4-issue miniseries, dude.
Okay, well, I'll get the 4th issue and then we'll read it all in one sitting, probably.
I have a customer that really likes it, so yeah, it's a small selling title, but I've got people that like it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we're gonna head out here. Daddy needs his chicken nuggets, and I gotta record best of the week. Have a fantastic weekend, and NFL free agency is around the corner, and we are springing forward this weekend.